Yeah, I feel like this person is so autistic, so can't interpret any of the thing that I'm saying, that this is like the best hit piece that's ever been made against me. Because this is like the most insane, like 4-word cut from a whole conversation where I'm talking about responsible platforming, where I
seemingly entirely out of spite. For example,
entirely out of spite. Whoa.
And that is where his reaction was based in. Perceived threats to livelihood are serious, and Destiny has a history of taking them violently serious, like the somewhat well-known early example of doxing a troll who continued to DDoS Steven's streams, and at one point Steven even said this.
Ripped his IP from Skype and gave it to a...
Yeah. Why do people like Hasan so much? I don't know. Maybe because he's a fucking Chad meme come to life and can meet the chuds on the ground they claim is theirs. You wouldn't want to fight him. He's intimidating. That makes him a great conduit for inspiring others. Based. Okay. I just realized I had mouse acceleration on for months. Whoa, not good. Mouse. Settings. If you have a good mouse, always make sure that pointer precision is turned off. Always turn that off. Sociopath, predator, troll. Why Destiny is alone, and it's all his fault. How am I alone? What does that mean? Excuse me. I have my chat with me right now. I have thousands of loyal Dalabanians.
It's a long-time flaw of the American left, as nebulous a phrase as there's ever been, that we can't really seem to get along or agree much on anything. Who's a tanky? Who's a liberal? Who's a sock damn plant for the DSA? Or who's doing good praxis or whatever? Yet, as the right wing continues to create coalition after coalition of divergent yet similarly aligned ideologies, conglomerating everyone from incels to backwoods boogaloos to college Republicans, libertarians, neckbeard metrosexuals, and more, like the most unfuckable Katamari of all time. The left of America has had a really hard time putting aside what are ultimately, in the face of concentrated power of an authoritarian movement that has wormed its way into every aspect of American life, very small differences. And a lot of that comes down to personal taste. Some people don't like streamer A because he's icky or interviewed some people they don't like. Some don't like YouTuber B because she said something they took in bad faith and therefore cut all ties with her. Some people don't like this politician because he tweeted something years ago, etc. There's a lot I could say here about the parasociality of relationships with political figures, and because most concentrated power is interested in maintaining the current social hierarchies, most actual leftist content creators who advocate for...
Just as a quick thing, I hate this word parasocial, and I hate that the word parasocial ever became a thing. It is common for people to somewhat identify with the people that they like, whether you're talking political content creators, politicians, actors, musicians. Like, you follow people, you follow their journey, and you identify to some extent with those people because you've got things in common. There's nothing parasocial or wrong or weird about if a person you're following does a bad thing and you feel bad, that's normal. Or if a person you're following gets married or has a baby and you feel glad, that's a normal thing. There's a term, it's an old like psych literature term. Nowadays we use terms like parasocial, obsessive, whatever this, but there used to be a word for this. It was called empathy. Empathy is when we feel things that other people feel. It's not abnormal or strange or pathological at all. It's pretty fucking normal, okay? Jesus.
Leftist economic and social policy are disorganized, left to scattered...
Also, hold on, this is driving me crazy now. Wait. What do you think I can low pass or low cut without it fucking my voice up? Testing 1 2, testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Nope, that's way too high. 100? Here? Testing 1 2. Okay, hold on. Test. Okay, yep, nice. Get that tinny hollow fuck voice. A little bit. We'll cut it 80. I don't know how much it'll help. Fuck it. Don't care. Suck my deek.
Random assortments across Twitch and YouTube are ultimately doing their best with a Patreon or Twitch income to stem the tide of misinformation that's propped up by literally billions of dollars in astroturfed right-wing funding. For example, Hasan isn't funded by George Soros, but Turning Point USA was started with fund money from a conservative philanthropist, and the Daily Wire was started with seed money from oil billionaires. All of this is to say that leftist infighting, while a time-honored tradition, is stupid. With little institutional power to achieve our goals, every effort to achieve anything that might prevent some suffering is seemingly undercut just as much from our own side as it is any conservative effort. Meanwhile, as the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk has shown, the comfortable liberal and intelligentsia classes would rather close ranks with conservatives that actively target them because when it
There's AI programs now that can like make it look like your eyes are looking at the camera, but like you could at least get a iPad or something or some kind of prompter above your camera. If you're doing a YouTube video, I don't know why you would make it so obvious that you're reading a script. Like it's a YouTube video, just memorize it line by line and then, you know, cut or whatever. I don't know.
It comes down to it, they have class consciousness, even at the expense of their own safety. Leopards eating people's faces and so on and so forth. Barry Weiss's recent turn from being a reasonable lib to a useful cog in state-run media is a perfect example of this. But for all our infighting, there are a few things we probably should agree on. For any smaller battles and quibbles we are willing to set aside, we must be vigilant in defending the communities we seek to help, and so we cannot accept any predators, abusers, or people who are so self-interested they really only seem to care about themselves to the exclusion and detriment of others. You saw the title of the video. Let's talk about Destiny.
That's me! The Spectacle.
Stephen Bennell II, commonly known by his online monikers, the Omni-Liberal and Destiny, is a sex pest, socially inept loser, deadbeat father, and all-around pedantic dipshit. Okay, I got that out of my system, and I'm just joking. If you're a Destiny fan and you're already triggered, well then you're probably just a lot like him in that, like Destiny, you probably have no problem lobbing similar insults at people, denigrating others based on perceived feelings, yet once that same standard is turned on him, suddenly it's a low blow. You might even designate the things I just said as straw men or...
All right, start off strong. I get very, very, very mad when people call me bad words, by the way.
Some other pedantic debate tactic. If you couldn't tell...
I don't know how... Oh, man. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm glad I'm only doing 30 minutes of this. None of that was pedantic. These would just be tactics that you would agree or disagree with. I don't know what is pedantic about saying you don't want somebody to insult you. I don't understand. And also...
Blow. You might even designate the things I just said as straw men.
I don't know how any of those things could be straw men either, but okay, let's go.
Or some other pedantic debate tactic. If you couldn't tell, yeah, we're going to be using the word pedantic a lot to describe Stephen. Somehow, this picture you'd see if you looked up the definition of the word man-child has managed to become something of a mainstream touchstone for representing the online left. In the last few months, for example, he was featured on CNN for a piece on how the left is meeting right-wing
I mean, it really depends on who you're talking about because, like, leftists fucking hate me, but okay.
debate lords on their own turf.
Somehow I feel like on the left, I don't know how this happened online, maybe it's because we tend to be younger or whatever, but somehow the party's messaging apparatus, it feels like it's kind of hijacked from people, by people who won't vote for your candidates.
One that is often characterized by un-PC language, insults, and crude humor. Like this tweet Destiny sent poking conservatives by saying the kids who died in the Texas floods were proof that God doesn't exist.
Do you regret sending those tweets? I think I have to get over it. I don't regret them. I love poking the bear on the right.
Yes, mainstream media, always right on time. 10 years too late. There's also this video recently. Like,
okay.
Come on, guys.
And I saw so much involvement from different gaming people, and I thought the conversations were so horrible. I was like, oh, I could improve this, and I can join this, and make this part of my content. Generally, the phrase "don't make this political" is actually people don't realize it. And I'm not accusing people of being bad faith, but that's coded language for I want to maintain the status quo. Yeah. So generally, if the environment is a certain lane, so maybe we should change this aspect of the environment. People say, well, let's not get political here, and what that means is I like the current environment. Let's not change it.
Shout out to this Wired article from 2020.
Would they disagree with me? That was a very progressive, left-leaning take. What was the point of that? What?
Which serves as a fairly complete and often revealing profile of Stephen's various neuroses. I highly recommend you go and read the article in its entirety because it's only grown better and more relevant with time, as the several quotes I've pulled throughout the video will attest. Quote, Bonnell first waded into the online political discourse a few years ago, driven by a kind of intellectual fury. As he sees it, many of the web's most influential gurus and luminaries are bewilderingly incapable of critical thought. End quote. Yes, Destiny is primarily known for his debate skills, which I will get to at some point, but before that, I need to go back. Way back, because like every other deep dive I've done on an internet personality in the past, with Destiny joining the unenviable ranks of people like Matt Walsh and Brianna Wu, when you go back to the very beginning, you can much better piece together who this person has always been.
Oh, God. The psychoanalysis. It's always the psychoanalysis. I think that excessive pathologizing is a pathology. There has to be some name for this where like Kiwi Farms does it, Hasan's community does it, Ethan from H3H3, I think these guys do it, Justicle's community. Like, you can never grapple ever with the things that a person says. You have to invent some grand conspiratorial way to wire it all together, or like to make it some kind of like illness or disease. Why not just like, the only reason why, in my mind, you would ever have to try to like piece things together is if there's like a unexplainable or inexplicable massive change of opinion or something that's like difficult to account for. Otherwise, I don't know why. Like, a good example of this would be for like Tim Pool. How is it that 10 years ago, Tim Pool seemed to know the ins and outs of everything happening on the ground with Euromaidan in Ukraine, but now he labels it as something completely different, and we know that he got $5 million of Russian money, right? So you have like a dramatic shift in opinion. You've got, a literal conspiracy to funnel money to his channel via Russia. This is like a thing that I think this is like you have like all the pieces here to make this argument. Nobody's ever demonstrated to me, because I got all these weird accusations of being a grifter or a debate lord or a debate pedophile or like disingenuous, or I don't believe, like what is a thing I've said where it's like, well, you're so contradictory here. How can you believe this but then also believe this, or say like, why not just like take me at my word for things? I don't know. Okay.
And for Stephen, he's always kind of been a immature, self-serving edgelord.
I mean, you literally told him to end his life over Twitter, didn't you?
I might have. I tell a lot of people to kill themselves, but I mean, like,
Wow.
I will be entirely honest. After reading countless forum posts, watching exposés, and countless hours of Stephen's own live streams, I will admit this deep dive has been much harder to do than ones I've done previously, at least as far as remaining empathetic to the primary subject. Usually, even with people I find personally reprehensible, like Matt Walsh or Brianna Wu, I still try to understand them through an empathetic lens, to get at what makes them tick as people and relate that to my own experiences, even if I don't agree with their opinions, their manipulative tactics, or their method. Destiny, however, defies this principle. At every turn, he has remained a unsympathetic and detached egotist, and the more I've learned, the more I have a hard time empathizing with him because, as I'll show, there's so little to empathize with on a personal, human level.
good. I don't like it when people sympathize at me or are having some weird engagement. Just engage with the things that I'm saying. I don't try to be a sympathetic figure. I think if you dramatically disagree with me on a lot of different issues, I think you would find me pretty fucking insufferable. But that's kind of part of my brand, right? Like, I mean, that's just the personality I have. I'm okay with that.
I think his detachment and
Although it's very strange to say that you can find ways to humanize or understand Matt Walsh, but you can't do the same for me. That's kind of strange, but okay.
has served him professionally to expand his base and profile, but now it has led to a series of controversies that he just can't ignore anymore. This is a deeply unwell, manipulative, cold, and self-interested person. That is an assessment, by the way, entirely free of whether or not I agree with any of his politics.
Okay, all right, let's go.
Because as we will speak about at length, much of his political outlook seems to come from a place of convenience and confrontation rather than genuine conviction. Like, say what you want about Matt Walsh, but I at least believe that he believes the bullshit he says. The same can't be said, in my opinion, for Stephen.
Okay, God, I hope we get into some of these beliefs. I would just love for some of these to be pointed out. Because when Matt Walsh, after doing a whole documentary on trans people, was brought into Joe Rogan, and when asked how many kids were getting trans surgeries, was it trans surgeries or hormone therapy? His guess was like millions. He said millions. Or did he say 3 million? And the actual number was like, it was like 1,000 or something over 5 years or something like that. He was off by several orders of magnitude. It was like, what?
So, fairly recently, for example, what kind of liberal would attempt to dox someone and publicly report their spouse to ICE all because they were being sued for being a sex pest? Destiny is that kind of liberal.
We're cutting through a lot of material there. We're working our way through a lot of material there to get that point at the end, but okay, I see we did our homework on that. Okay.
But like those previous deep dives, this isn't going to be a hit piece solely attacking somebody I don't like, but I aim for it to function more as a guide to who he is through his content.
Okay.
And hopefully that will answer the question of, as we try to find a way forward and build coalitions, what is the line for who we reject solidarity with? And that line is Stephen, a abusive, narcissistic weirdo who will always try and make a bigger issue about himself.
How? I feel like they've done this thing where they've like summarized me like 6 times with just like a string of like insults, but okay, based.
Most recently, at time of writing, that took the form of him trying to do the whole Charlie Kirk debate me thing. Why? For what? For why? Probably
Yes, because nobody debated until Charlie Kirk was here.
the same reason he immediately went on TV as a talking head and started saying the dumbest shit imaginable as right-wingers were looking for anything they could to justify cracking down on the free speech of the left in the wake of Charlie Kirk's killing.
In response to Alina Hadder's tweet, ordering people to fly their flags a half-mast in memory of Charlie, you posted on X buying flags and poles just to fly them fully erect. And you then posted yesterday, ending every Conservative debate call out I do in 2026 with don't dodge bro. That's not what Charlie would have wanted. I mean, do you think that your response to the cold-blooded murder of Charlie Kirk has been appropriate?
Yes. I think that the only way this country moves forward into a better world is when conservatives can finally realize that they need to turn the temperature down on their side.
You have a huge audience of young men who listen to everything you have to say. So it doesn't matter. You have a huge audience. And because of the fact that you have a huge audience.
Or also probably why, in the middle of a public lawsuit, he is openly harassing people in...
I love that this person is hand-wringing left-leaning talking points for the right, but I'm pretty sure, well, we saw this person openly supports Hasan, who is like an anti-U.S. pro, fucking Muslim imperialist pro, anything that is contrary to the U.S. interests or whatever will quote-unquote Fed post, but in the most, I guess, like leftist-friendly ways. Okay, good one. All right.
Involved in the lawsuit, recording it, and also probably why, in the middle of a public lawsuit, he is openly harassing people involved in the lawsuit, recording it and laughing.
And while I was out with my good Nazi friend, I'll say LS for an abbreviation, keep it anonymous.
Do you have anything you would like to say to the audience?
By the way, I think I've already said this. I don't know. I imagine at some point this will be public. She admitted in her deposition that she was FaceTiming Pixie when she ran across the street, so excited to see me because she's fucking obsessed with me. She was the one who ran us down in Austin, by the way. She does admit that in her deposition.
You're fucking weird.
Okay, cool.
as to why I need to be exposed.
Wait, really? Are we recording each other now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you around.
Why are you following me?
Because I'm bored. I gang stalk in real life.
You're fucking free. You're a pedophile.
Yeah.
Sad.
Since you deposed or subpoenaed her, you must have known that she lives in Texas. I don't think she ever got subpoenaed in Texas. I'm pretty sure she got subpoenaed in Florida.
You're free. You're a pedophile.
Yeah.
Sad. You live sad.
Yeah. True.
We're going to see that clip a few more times. All of this is because
Why? Wait, what the fuck does this? Wait, are they about to do the thing where they summarize me with like 3 more insulting words again? Hold on.
Sad. You live sad.
Yeah. True.
we're going to see that clip a few more times. All of this is because he wants attention, and he doesn't care who his grandstanding and short-sightedness affects as long as he gets that.
Yes, I wanted her to run up to me on the street and record me and to be on her phone. I wanted that. I was so excited when I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know you lived here. And oh, yes.
The thing about being an internet streamer for so long is that there's a lot of time for you to talk about your own past, something that has led Steven into hot water several times, which is to say that most of what we know about his past is from Steven himself. He is his own favorite subject. He was raised conservative Catholic. In 2010, he dropped out of school and was later fired from a job, citing, quote, an inability to understand others' emotional experiences, which would lead to him starting to stream full-time on Twitch.
Is this from the Wired article? Bunnell attributes this to his own failure to navigate workplace politics. Everything is something that comes naturally to me. It's very hard for me to understand other people's emotional experiences. Was that in connection to the firing? I feel like usually when I talk about this, I usually say I just didn't understand the corporate politics stuff as much. The thing that I've said before, but I understand the corporate stuff better now. I didn't realize that you're marking yourself for deletion. I had the abbreviated version of this is that I was a grave shift supervisor. I didn't have the employees to do what we needed to do on shift. And for a day shift, a VP was walking by, complained about the state of my restaurant. My manager came to me and complained to me. And she said, hey, you need to make sure that this stuff is like bussed and cleaned or whatever. And I'm like I have no employees from 4 to 7, right? I'm doing everything in front of house and I'm cooking for back of house and you want like all this other shit done. You need to give me another employee. And I think that after this happened a second time or something, I emailed the VP of food and beverage and then I CC'd my manager saying like, this is the state of the restaurant. Like I need another employee. And I was just autistic. I didn't realize like I'm basically throwing my manager under the bus, which she should have been, by the way. Fuck that cunt. But that was after that point I started to get written up for random shit. And then eventually I got fired. I was like, oh shit. But at the time I didn't realize I was fucking retarded. Well, I was a kid. I shouldn't say I was retarded. I was like 20 years old.
Focusing primarily on StarCraft.
But I don't know if this is like a difficult time navigating emotional experience. I just didn't understand the whole culture around, because Pam had told me, if you're not getting what you need to email and CC the upper person, because it was me having a conflict with a swing shift supervisor over fruit flies on the fucking soda machine or whatever. And so she wanted me to email her and then CC the swing supervisor, but I guess she didn't expect me to apply that logic to her emailing the VP and then CCing her. But
Craft 2. From the aforementioned Wired article, quote, forced to choose between a paycheck or an education, he dropped out of school in 2010. Within a year, he was fired from his job. Bunnell attributes this to his own failure to navigate workplace politics. Quote, empathy isn't something that comes naturally to me. It's very hard for me to understand other people's emotional experiences. End quote. This knowledge of empathy, or lack of it by Steven, is a key part of who he is. And I don't want to speculate on whether he's neurodivergent or on the spectrum or how much that plays into his behavior, but at a certain point, neurodivergent or not, if you're aware of how much of a dick you're being in your behavior and you do nothing to curb that behavior, you are simply willfully choosing to be a dick, which will go on to be the defining aspect of his personality once he gets a platform, a dickish, holier-than-thou superiority that I suspect is also part of why his audience is drawn to him.
I am a dick. I've said that. Holier than thou? These people always project. It must be what they do. These people always project their own, I guess, like their assumptions that they're perfect or that their moral character is unimpeachable. I've never said this about myself ever. I've never made these claims. But like other people claim that I do. I don't know why. And then they attack the straw man. But
And I want to return to that Wired article one last time for a particularly telling paragraph that is, in hindsight, so much more revealing than I think anyone knew it would become. Quote, eventually he quit his job and made streaming a full-time gig, earning more than $100,000 his first year. But even as his financial prospects improved, Bunnell was painfully withdrawing from a relationship with the mother of his son. The two are now on friendly terms, and Bunnell sees his son often. He describes his political identity at the time as anti-SJW, against social justice warriors. These were days when words like cunt and retard would reflexively exit Bunnell's mouth, along with what has become a debased salutation on the internet, kill yourself. The comic value of the gag is measured in its repugnance. Bunnell once quarreled on Twitter with a woman who claimed she'd been sexually assaulted. At the end of their exchange, she told him to go fuck himself. Quote, I hope you get raped with a fucking shovel, she replied.
Jesus Christ.
End quote. Now, it's very odd to preface that tweet by essentially calling it a gag. We will talk more about that incident and many more having to do with Steven's opinions and lack of care or empathy to victims of sexual assault. But to me, this paragraph was fascinating when I came across it for 2 reasons. One,
wait, when you say I can't interpret this as a gag, now you can talk about the offensiveness or whatever of a tweet, which, by the way, that tweet was wild, okay? But this is like a 2016 tweet. I said it was wild. I shouldn't, obviously, I'm a fucking crazy person, okay? It was bad. I shouldn't have tweeted it. But are we evaluating this as though like Stephen Bonnell at the time genuinely and sincerely hoped that somebody would find this woman and rape them with a shovel? Like, is that the analysis? Like, I feel like that's just such a stupid. I mean, like, you can do it from that perspective, I guess, but then it's like, why analyze anything? Like, in that case, I'm literally like a sociopathic fucking murderer person, I guess, you know?
We now know that Destiny has been a primarily absent father, which is
Based.
probably at least partially why his son has now descended into white supremacist circles.
Being Destiny's son, right? You're gonna have like a lot of more like you'd imagine you'd have a lot more like liberal ideologies being raised by somebody like Destiny. So like, what point was it where you kind of like came into your own and formed like your own separate belief system?
It was kind of around a few months ago. I started talking to a lot more creators.
Thoughts on Hitler? Don't get me banned, bro.
Ooh, a great guy. Great guy.
This despite the fact that Destiny has said many times throughout the years how active he was.
Despite Destiny saying Hitler is not a great guy.
His kid's life.
Correct?
Yeah.
Are you involved or is...
Yeah, I lived there until he was around 9. Then I moved to California and then Florida. And then anytime I travel, I try to visit him afterwards. So I'm heading up to Nebraska tomorrow to hang out with him.
You said he's 9?
Yeah. No, until he was 9. He's 12 now.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Before we move on from this topic, I want to draw a parallel here between some of the things that Nathan, Destiny's son, says about his personal struggles.
If we think that I'm a Nazi, though, wouldn't that just be further evidence that I am influencing his political beliefs? Isn't that kind of how that works? No?
Yeah, I like being mean to people online. It's fun. I like being responsive to people. I like the attention.
Do you think that your dad is like proud of your social media stuff? Like, would you say that your dad is proud of you right now and everything that you're doing?
No.
No?
No, because I tell Nathan all the time to fuck off with this crazy social media shit, which he should, by the way, if you're listening.
No.
Why not?
I'm kind of self-destructing. I'm destroying my life basically, but and I don't do anything to stop it, and I know that I am.
And some of the ways that Destiny has spoken about his own struggles in the past and how they manifested.
Well, I was left pretty much to my own devices growing up. My parents didn't come to my concerts or, come to school plays.
Holy
pathologizing or pathologizing. Yes.
Were very edgy, shonen-esque figures where people like Solid Snake or whatever in JRPGs and shit.
Where's my Cloud Strife quote?
A pretty individual person. This has its ups, it has its downs. For me personally, in this business, it's been a major.
So apparently shit-talking you is okay and mentioning your son, but apparently you're the monster, very adult-like behavior. I mean, like, I think there's a world where you can deep dive on a person's history because you might be interested in figuring out, I guess, like where their belief system comes from. Or again, like I said, if there's something that's hard to explain. The annoying thing, I guess, for me is I'm so transparent about my lifestyle, for better or for worse, about like the research I do on stream, about my thought process on stream. Like, I'm pretty transparent about everything. So it's just annoying when I'll say like 5 or 6 different things, and then like, losers like this will be like, we have to figure out what he really meant. Like, what's actually going on here. It's like, why not just like, you can just like listen to what I'm saying. There's not a mystery here to be solved. Major benefit to me, like an insurmountable benefit.
And I want to draw these two parallels because this is just one of many examples we will see of Stephen not really understanding how his actions affect others. So, for example, how his son is seemingly dealing with many of the same things that he dealt with because of his absence and short-sightedness. The other thing I find interesting is the way this profile of Destiny, written in 2020, goes out of its way to give him credit for personal growth while calling out the horrible things he said in the past. But the way the profile is written gives the impression that while he came up in transgressive and awful internet circles, it was around 2012 that he reflected and began to grow as a person, moving into liberal politics and away from reactionary edginess. The problem with that narrative established is that the tweet mentioned in the context of Destiny starting streaming in 2011 is actually from an incident in 2015. This might seem like a minor nitpick, but it cuts at an undercurrent of much of Destiny's coverage in the...
Bro, I grew up as an insanely online, like crazy internet person saying insanely unhinged shit. And in 2012 or 2013, I think is when I stopped using faggot as an insult because of an experience I had in Poland. That was like the start. Do people think that this like change happens in a month? Or like what? Like, oh shit, my whole ideology. Actually, you know what? Unironically, I will tell you this as a life advice thing for a red flag. If somebody has a massive political change or shift that happens in the course of a month or two, especially if they go from one radical ideology or belief system to another, that's always a huge red flag. It means that the person doesn't have any kind of like consistent, coherent way to generate beliefs or thoughts or feelings. They're not doing any kind of like actual genuine reflection or change. And they just like to adopt extremist radical belief systems, usually because they're looking for a friend group or a community that they belong, or that they want to belong to, basically.
In the mainstream, and that is giving him way too much credit and goodwill. Because this trend of Destiny getting goodwill that erases the things he's done is
legit questioning at Destiny, but have you ever discussed what happened and why you stayed with your ex, etc.? Obviously, if that's all private, it's one thing, but maybe that would help discredit their claims. But when people are attacking your personal life, there's nothing to discredit. Like anything you release or talk about is always going to be used, more against you. Like me and Nathan's mom staying together. Well, maybe not together. but being closer obviously is going to be more beneficial for being a parent. In terms of where he should live, like his mom and the family system that he has around there would be way better than anything that I have out of state. I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, but I'm also not going to sit here and say like, oh, I'm a perfect parent, or there aren't things that I could have done better, or there aren't times where I definitely like optimized for career over potentially sacrificing career stuff and staying in Nebraska. Like, these are all things that you could make the argument for, but it's just to like to weaponize these things to pathologize my political beliefs is, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. But hey, listen, go off, Queen.
Is important because he just continues to do them. He continues to say shit like this to this day. For example, this article also mentions that he was inspired to start reflecting on his politics when he saw a friend call a gay person a slur, but the article fails to mention that in 2018, he was suspended on Twitch for spouting that same word. These outbursts, by the way, he doesn't really ever take any kind of responsibility for. And
first of all, I was the first person on Twitch to get banned for that, number one. Number two, I don't understand, I do understand. Oh God, this is such slop. Like, there's a ideological difference, but there's an ideological difference between doing a thing versus like having it as part of your belief system and defending a thing. So for instance, if you were, let's say that you're a person who's like, I think that smoking is fine and good, and then you do or don't smoke, like that can be a thing that you a belief system you have and a belief system you support. Maybe 10 years after that, maybe you no longer support smoking, you don't think it's good for you, you don't smoke yourself, you tell other people not to smoke, but then let's say you have a bad habit and you kind of get caught smoking a couple cigarettes. That doesn't mean that your prior statements were hypocritical. It doesn't mean you don't believe in the thing. Like, it is possible to fuck up. Like, that can happen, you know? Also, fuck that Graves player. I remember that guy. And you know what? I should have brought the shovel tweet out against him. No. But I mean, like, yeah, sure, I shouldn't call the guy a faggot. That's not good. And I got a 30-day ban for it. But it's also like, I feel like it misses the point a lot of the conversation of 2012 or 2013. But hey, you know what? Listen, I don't know what you mean. Like, when people also drop this word a lot too, where they're like, no accountability. Like, I got banned for 30 days. What do you want me to say? What, am I supposed to kill myself? Like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to say or do?
Ended on Twitch for spouting that same word. These outbursts, by the way, he doesn't really ever take any kind of responsibility for, and will instead continually chalk up his Twitch bans to being targeted by crazy radical leftists or whatever.
But that's not every single Twitch ban. A lot of them were crazy and ridiculous, but that was probably a fair ban. Now, it was the first time anybody got banned on Twitch for saying that word, but I mean, it was a fair ban. It was part of their slur, hate speech policy or whatever. But like, I mean, like, what else am I supposed to do? Do I need to go on like an apology tour and find every gay person and tell them I'm sorry?
While he's tried to reshape his image over the years and even claims to have phased words out of his vocabulary, at his heart, he is still the same person who said these things. He never...
Like, what? That's such an insanely deranged take. But okay.
Never really lost his edgelord side. He just found a way to monetize it and get attention from it, which is what I aim to illustrate by laying out a timeline like this. So let's go back to the beginning of Steven's streaming career. It was 2011, so being an abrasive, dickish tryhard was in vogue, and Destiny...
This is not 2011, but okay.
Got plenty of notoriety for his place in the trend. And it's in this origin story that we see the saplings that will become the shrubly man that Destiny is now. Much like Matt Walsh got his start as a sadistic shock jock, which was an early insight into his personal cruelty to others, Destiny's start as a transgressive, immature, rage-fueled gamer feels like a guide to everything he did next. Over the years, it's become clear, for example, that Destiny still loves some offensive humor, and by offensive humor, I mean he almost certainly just says racial slurs in private to his friends. I'm not aghast by this behavior, by the way. Don't mistake me clutching my progressive identity politics pearls.
Yeah?
I just think it's cringe to have the same go-to playground insults as a middle schooler. He still calls people the R slur like he's playing...
But like, bro, I don't know if there's been more like embarrassing / humiliating / revenge porn shit of me leaked everywhere on the internet, including Ethan, the pedophile, fucking H3H3. Like, everybody on the internet has posted so many of my DMs and everything. Notice how there's never, ever, ever, ever been a DM leak of me being like, yeah, that guy's an N-word. Oh yeah, blah, blah, oh yeah. Notice how like that's just never ever happened. And it's not even because I'm too good for it. It's just not even like really part of my vocabulary. I'm just not like a very big racial slur utilizer. It's just not a thing I do. Like, just because I defend the principle of the thing doesn't mean that this is the only humor that I have or the only go-to stuff I have. Like, it's such a shallow engagement with everything, I guess. I don't know.
Xbox Live in a 2009 Modern Warfare 2 lobby. In leaked messages from his own server, for example, as recent as the last few months, he still says shit like this. And I'm sure if there are any loyal members of his audience left after his various controversies...
Like, are we... this is also a thing that I fucking hate these people for, including this fucking person, because I know they defend Hasan. All of these people are subhuman fucks, okay? The idea that And even if you want to be critical of a white person saying nigga or whatever, that's fine. Listen, I don't say it a lot, okay? You don't like a white person typing whatever, that's fine. But to equate this to calling somebody like a racial slur, you should have your internet privileges revoked from you. Like, it's so fucking retarded. And it drives me so crazy. People like this need to go to a camp. Clip me and put me in the next stupid slut video you make of me. When somebody will sit here and say, well, Hasan and his entire community is spamming and calling you Gusano as a slur against you because your family has a half Cuban background, that's actually based in okay. But you using a word that can be used as a racial slur, but not necessarily as a racial slur, that's actually the worst thing ever. It's such a mind-numbingly stupid fucking critique. Like, it's so retarded. It's so stupid. I don't know if I'm trying to think if I've ever been my single time in my life. And again, it's not like I call people fags a lot because listen, that's an RTS word. We said that. I don't know if I've ever called somebody like a racial slur as an insult, but I do know, I don't think I have. Well, besides the Goog incident in StarCraft. That was different, though. I didn't know he was Korean. But I shouldn't have said that either. But regardless of anything I've said or done, I've never defended the concept of calling people slurs, which is one thing that I noticed that a lot of people that will bring up my N-word debate with Hasan will talk about this. Like, my defenses of edgy humor or edgy jokes, but that doesn't mean just calling people slurs. Like, that's not a joke. Like, I've never said like, oh yeah, you should call black people the N-word. Oh yeah, you should call this person whatever. Like, it's just not, I don't think I've ever defended that ever. It's just not a good thing to do. Right? Like, what? Yeah, but okay.
See, they're typing angry messages in my comments, already calling me. Maybe some of these words are trying to debate me, bro. Laying out some long-winded diatribe about how using slurs is actually totally okay, and you should focus on his actual arguments instead of how he delivers them. But I'm not interested in that criticism because,
like, it's just such a low IQ. It's a low IQ thing. Like, again, it goes back to the thing of like the shovel tweet or whatever, right? This is a tweet that was way too fucking edgy, insanely inappropriate. Like, I shouldn't have tweeted it. But to analyze the tweet as though like, I can't believe that you really genuinely wanted that woman to get raped by a shovel. I was like, well, hold on, Jesus Christ. Like, I might have been way like inappropriately edgy or using, bad language or whatever, but you think I really want a person to get raped by a shovel? That's kind of insane. Same thing with the slur thing, right? You can say that like, well, there are some words that for problematic reasons, community reasons, blah, 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 whatever, like you shouldn't say these words. Fine, sure. But to say like, you're using slurs at people or whatever, to give it the same level of analysis, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of cringe, but.
As like so much Destiny does, it's just a smokescreen to distract from the glaring issue that Steven is just a incredibly immature person who's never attempted to grow up or take responsibility for what he does. And because of his massive platform, amount of connections, and sphere of influence, that consistent recklessness and unaccountability has tangibly hurt people and continues to. And oh boy, will we talk about the things he thinks are okay, as long as you do them in private, like how early in his career he was bragging to friends about getting bikini pictures from 15-year-olds, noting how tempted he was.
You want to see the sickest shit in the world? So many fangirls. I had one that was 15. She wanted to meet and hook up. Dude, she's 15. What the fuck? But she sent me pictures that made it so hard to say no. So in these logs, when Destiny was 23, he said that it was really hard to turn down hooking up with this 15-year-old because she looked so good in this picture of her in a bikini. He then shared this lewd image of a child with his friends and said that he's gonna get arrested someday.
Imagine receiving a
back in the day, for anybody that was alive or back there in the crazy gaming times, MLG events were literally fucking cesspools of crazy shit. Yeah, I messaged my little team or whatever. Obviously, those DMs were pretty crass, but I mean, the whole point is like, A, like, there are gonna be people that DM you, they'll send you pictures, they look older than they actually are, don't fuck a minor, your life is gonna be over, don't do it. If you want to like sit here and virtue signal about how, oh no, like every single person above or below this age, like the second they turn 18 or 22, they instantly look attractive, or like this, I'm not here for that. If that's what you want to do, then go for it.
So to be clear, his argument here is that not only was this behavior something totally normal, and he just says that passively as if it's not going to get any pushback, but additionally that somebody being concerned about somebody in their 20s sharing and finding a 15-year-old attractive is somehow virtue signaling. This is not how it works, Steven.
The virtue signal is the people who are like, I would never find a 17-year-old attractive ever, but as soon as a woman turns 18, now I can find them attractive. That's retarded, and I'm not even here to engage with it. And if you want, this person might not find anything attractive for a variety of reasons, but this is a retarded criticism. It's just fucking retarded. If you want to believe it, that's fine. You can also say, if you want to pretend that really old men, not just in their 20s, but in their 30s or 40s, haven't historically creeped on women in their, I'll say mid-teens, but it gets a lot creepier than that. And that wasn't a hyper-normalized part of our culture, even like 20 years ago. I mean, if you, listen, more power to young people if you think that the world was never like that, okay?
He was absolutely well into adulthood by this time. These are things to keep in mind, and I will
well into adulthood as a 23-year-old. True! That's why never mind video games.
Dive into them more fully when the time comes. But for now, just ponder how this start as a elite gamer played into the various controversies he continues to face, and more importantly, how he vitriolically and venomously reacts to anyone who doesn't fall in line with his framing of an issue. One constant since his era of calling himself an anti-SJW libertarian.
8 minutes left.
Arian is Stephen's emphasis on basing his views on empirical data rather than emotional or opinion-based arguments. It's notable how that lofty standard can fly out the window when it's convenient for him, though, which, again, we will see plenty of. This empirical data talking point is just that. It's a talking point. It's marketing for his followers to buy into and something he can say on public debate stages in the hopes of pulling susceptible people.
Don't you get tired of addressing the same shit over and over again? There's literally nothing new / substance of this video. Well, I said I watched 30 minutes of it because it came out today. But yeah, I mean, it's basically when you want to do like your slop hit piece, it's just a retread of all the anything you can find over the last 15, 20 years. But this time, it's going to stick, okay?
People to his side of the argument. This is how a lot of debates go. From the video Turkey Tom did on him, where he followed Destiny around, he definitely uses this not like other girls style of argumentation to distinguish himself, though in practice it isn't so much that he's the lone true centrist and more that he's a progressive until somebody on the progressive side criticizes him. You'll see what I mean.
One of the things that I like, and one of my strengths, one of the reasons I like watching my content is because I don't have a particular political slant. Like, I am essentially like a progressive liberal or whatever, but I don't have like any allegiance to the label, which I think is actually really important. Not just because I can say like, oh, I'm not partisan or whatever, but because anytime an issue comes up, like I can truly give my opinion on an issue. So when people watch my stream, it's like, oh, what is like Destiny's thought on a thing? It's not what's the left. Yeah, exactly.
And I know I am teasing a lot up front here, but try and trust the process. We've got a lot to talk about. I'm trying to establish a through line here so that by the time we get to his most recent controversies, you as a viewer will be able to recognize the patterns of his behavior and the effects they've had.
Okay.
This is going to be a long video by necessity because of this. It's also partially because having seen him react to my deep dive on Brianna Wu among plenty of other videos, I know that he very likely won't actually get even this far without some kind of outburst telling me to get to the point or
hey, we made it,
or making some other bizarre comment.
What did I react to this person's video on Brianna Wu for? Or what did I say about that video? I don't even remember. My opinion of Brianna Wu has fluctuated wildly over the past few years. The lies of Brianna Wu 8 months ago. I don't even remember. Wait, this is 3 hours? Yes. That's why I'm just watching 30 minutes of it.
About one of the figures behind me.
I don't know why, but I just know that anything involving anything having to do with Sonic is always a massive red flag. Also, this thing, I feel like I've seen so many videos or random 4chan thing, or maybe some other time of this figurine getting cummed on. So
true! I don't know what it is, but anytime there's a subreddit or Twitter video of figurines getting cummed on, it's always this, whatever this anime chick is with blue hair. Is that, I don't know if that's a cummed on meme or if that's a Twitter or a Reddit thing or a 4chan thing. I don't know what's the name of the person. I don't know why. Morgana? Is that what the blue haired thing is? Or Morrigan? She's a semen demon. Is that true? I don't know what I don't know what the character is. I just feel like I've seen that figurine getting cummed on.
Big red flags. Okay.
This video clip, by the way, was my only real interaction with Stephen before I made this piece.
Okay, I don't know if that was I don't know if that counts as an interaction or not, Queen. I don't think we interacted there, but okay. Sounds a little parasocial.
My only real interaction with Stephen before I made this piece. I don't know what else to call that but sexual harassment.
Of the figurine? Who am I sexually harassing there? If I say I want to come on your Buster Sword, ooh, and that looks like an Advent Children tier Buster Sword too, which is another big red flag. Am I sexually harassing you? Wait, what?
I honestly don't. Now, when I decided to make this piece, as I do with plenty of my subjects, I attempted to reach out several times. I made no effort to hide my intent or my personal distaste for Destiny, so I couldn't be construed or reframed as an effort to trick him or do some kind of dishonest gotcha. As I've said and proven in pieces where I've interviewed people who would call themselves TERFs or Nazis, I don't have to like somebody to still want to do my full due diligence and get their statement, allowing them to answer for themselves in their own words. Now, being in the middle of a lawsuit, I do understand why somebody wouldn't want to sign up for an interview for a video that is very likely not going to give them a positive outlook. I'm not too bothered about that. Yet.
What? Why would you phrase it that way? I understand if you're in a lawsuit, you don't want to do a video. That's not going to put you in a positive outlook. How about you don't want to say anything to jeopardize like the early parts of your court case? Maybe? Possibly? Maybe? You don't want to say something that could be construed in some way that there might show up in a filing? Maybe? I don't know. Who knows?
Yet, Stephen went above and beyond. His response as an almost 40-year-old man was to make a joke about fucking my...
Almost 40-year-old man? What? How old was I when this tweet was made? I was 35. I'm almost 40 at 35?
Mother. And when I simply said, yeah, dude, sure, you can talk about fucking my mom in an interview because I'm an adult, he walked it back. He said, actually, no, I won't actually do this thing.
What? I said dick all the way in or no video. Is this sexual harassment too?
So I guess you can't say I didn't try. Well, if he is still watching, hi, Stephen. Maybe this will get you to actually watch and pay attention to this video all the way through since it's about your favorite subject.
Probably not, but I'm going to make it 4 more minutes.
You. And not taking responsibility, but those might as well be one and the same at this point. Anyway, back to where his story starts picking up, and more people will be familiar with everything from here on out. Now, as he moved into this debate space, his first big debate was with Carl Benjamin, aka...
That's the summary of the first 6 years of streaming is liking 15-year-old girls, abandoning my kid, doing the whatever podcast that comes way later, and the Wired piece, which was also after my... What is the timeline on this? What is the timeline on these video clips and everything? The Wired piece was when I was in... Also, this clip is right on here. So this must have been in the past 3 years. Okay, based.
A Sargon of Akkad, an embarrassing stain on Britain that just blends in with all the rest, so I'm not surprised if anyone doesn't recognize him.
Well, I've tweeted it out, but yeah, I will be able to.
Stephen Bonnell, like, I don't know, whatever you know me as. I'm known in gaming community as Destiny. I started in StarCraft and then...
Hey, that's me, 2017.
I'm on Twitch. I don't consider myself an SJW, but compared to the gaming community, I guess I'm pretty left-leaning.
You're obviously not an SJW. The fact that you're willing to come and talk and you haven't just called me a racist for disagreeing with you means that you're not an SJW.
Well, I mean, you haven't started talking yet. You might be a racist. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
I think it's here that Stephen started realizing he had stumbled upon a niche nobody else had really capitalized on, debating far-right kooks in exchange for attention. And you can't deny the results. Here's a video of him talking with Nozbol Eric Stryker, and it's currently sitting at 1.5 million views.
So this is a total...
So I can only debate the people that don't give me any views? It can't, why can't you take me at my word for any of this? Maybe I debated them because I felt passionately about the topics, because I feel like nobody on the left was debating them, because I feel like they were easy wins. Yeah, they were some of these were high-profile debates for sure. I did a lot of low-profile debates too. Some of these were with other left-leaning people, like Vosh. Me and Vosh debated, I think, Stryker and someone else. Like, all of it was just... It's also so stupid because, especially as a YouTuber, theoretically, you can frame every single thing I do as for attention, because, I mean, it's kind of my job, right? But I mean, like, I could do the same for this person. Wow, notice how all of your videos are about popular online people. Like, why don't you do a YouTube video about your neighbor across the street? Like, well, obviously, it wouldn't make any sense to do this, right? Oh, yeah, I collabed with smaller creators like Hasan, too. True.
This is a loser topic. You have to go to another subject besides music, because it's the worst example you could have picked. Like, jazz is one of the most important contributions that America's made on the world stage.
Jazz is a bastardization of the waltz. That's what jazz music...
Wait, would you say that every single form of art is a bastardization of the art that it was derived from? You realize that every single... Like, would you say that Romanticism was a bastardization of classical music, or that classicalism was a bastardization of Baroque music, or that Baroque was a bastardization of the...
So you're saying...
This is ridiculous.
So you're saying rap music is...
As of March 2017, his debate with JonTron was one of the first big incidents in his road to relevance, where he showed JonTron to be a racist asshole, and in the process, Destiny got a shit ton of goodwill.
You can't make the argument that whites should be okay with them being...
A shit ton of goodwill. I also got a shit ton of harassment and hate as well. That was probably the most hate I'd ever gotten on the internet up to that point. I think I stayed awake all night that night just because my phone kept going off, because basically every single account I had was getting hacked or pen tested or whatever. I don't know if you call it pen tested. I mean, just people trying to hack my accounts, I guess. Like,
becoming a minority in the countries that their ancestors built, if it doesn't apply to other countries.
Wait, we're getting way different. Hold on. White, minority versus other countries. Okay, here, I'll write this down. We're not quite on that topic yet. I'm just saying that if you're not acknowledging that there are problems that exist in these communities, you'll never be able to fix it, right? And one of the big problems I had when I talked with Sargon was this idea that, like, black people just need to fix themselves. Like, I mean, sure, you can say that, but this is going to take a lot longer to get these communities on board when they were aggravated by white communities for so long. You can't just tell a group of people that have been oppressed historically in the United States for hundreds of years, over the course of a generation, to just fix their shit.
Now, these debates would get Destiny an instant reputation as a left-leaning debater, yet even that position Destiny is himself attempted to distance from. He would rather assign himself the label of a rational liberal, someone who purports to be above the left-right paradigm so he can distance himself from the radical left, which...
Above the left? Yes, that's me. Lay radical centrist. Lay both sides are the same. True.
He definitely has opinions on. We'll get to those too.
I've always had kind of like a center-left political position, which like 5 years ago in the gaming space was pretty far left.
Yeah.
But the scene has changed a lot over time.
Yes, it has.
And stuff has gotten way, way, way farther left. So I think the ban was because I had a position that I didn't believe that trans women should be competing in the same leagues as cisgender women.
Real how dare you? Oh, you bigot?
Yeah, basically. And I think I got banned for that. Maybe, but all they do is they tell you that they ban you for hate speech, and they don't actually tell you what it was for. But I don't see like any hateful slurs or anything on my stream, so that's my guess. But
this framing of himself as the reasonable center-left liberal allows him to critique what he calls progressives or crazy campus lefties, but rarely does he actually give reasons why he sees them as crazy or unable to be reasoned with, aside from what usually come back to basic conservative talking points of them.
Because why am I going to sit there and shit on or trash lefties in front of conservatives? I just have to separate myself from them, because I'm not going to sit here and go on a show where they're going to accuse me of supporting, trans people in sports, up through college and professional shit or whatever else. Like, I'll just separate myself and then have my arguments. But what is he? I mean, I've debated people on the far left. Like, I'll do that. Now, most of them are incredibly evasive. Now, everybody's evasive. But I don't... Okay.
Them being crazy campus commies and champagne socialists with no real experience or cogent beliefs. He essentially says this stuff so that he doesn't have to deal with debates.
You think protests would...
Okay.
be best if they were organized by the DNC with known speakers or more of a grassroots vibe. I mean, grassroots is the best, but the problem is there are no grassroots Democratic people now. It's all leftists and conservatives. All the grassroots people on the conservative side are trying to like, you know, cash out into some kind of Trump support, and the grassroots people on the left are all fucking commies and losers. Also, remember when you read
holy shit, fucking true.
Just like this, Destiny's for the status quo. He's a poor boy at heart who's benefiting from the system now, so of course he wants to support it. This is exclusively said by white people who grew up rich in this country and are just repeating shit they heard from other radicalized classmates at whatever private university that their parents are paying for.
Probably
Every
true.
single time. It is always these people.
True.
It is never anybody with an ounce of actual political experience anywhere, ever. It's always people who have zero political goals
True.
in mind and they just want to make as much noise as possible.
True.
Because they farm epic likes on their Instagram
True.
feeds and everything.
It's also probably because his emphasis on empirical data isn't useful to argue as much against leftists as it is against fact-averse MAGA and red pill dude bros. When he does debate people on the left, it comes across more like a child trying to act tough at a table full of adults. But even for people paying attention, it became apparent he wasn't some...
How does someone like this get so poisoned against someone that they end up watching hours of content of them being pretty good faith? That's kind of insane to watch how bad faith is read into every single thing. It's got to be mental illness to be this cynical. Well, if you're captured by a community of people like Hasan or whatever, like he builds up these myths of people. This is part of the intentional thing that happens. Conservatives have gotten so good at this with all of their media over the past few decades. But you build up this like myth of a person who is so crazy and pedophilic and manipulative and evil and blah, 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 that once you've got this like myth in mind, as long as the myth is like grand enough and the plot is like transcendent enough, then you're in a position where you can actually start to collect new information, but make it fit with like the crazy weird story that you've got of this person already. So if you see me say something that sounds really based and awesome and you agree with it, you can fit it into your prior model of going, okay, well, he's probably just saying this because he's grifting and he's trying to get some goodwill. Or if you see me being nice to like a girl, well, he's not really nice. He's just trying to manipulate that person and catch him under his evil sex cult manipulator wing. But if you see me being mean to a girl, that makes sense because he's actually misogynistic and hateful and hates this person. Or if you see me saying something that's slightly right wing, that's the true him showing through that he actually believes in this like super right wing. Like you always have like a way to kind of fit it into your new kind of conspiratorial mold. And then the biggest benefit of this is it allows you to never actually have to substantially or substantively disagree with or argue with anything I say ever. You never, ever, ever, ever have to argue with any points that I make ever, which I don't even know if this loser has argued with a single thing I've said yet. But I guess it's probably just like a 3-hour hit piece, so you wouldn't. But yeah. Do you ever get sad watching these things? Yeah, not because it's about me, but because this is like what our entire political scene has become. Like what this person is doing to me here has also been like the conservative assignment. Again, like think about Joe Biden's presidency. This guy was a senator for decades, vice president, was nice to everybody, constantly talked about the soul of America. His son was being investigated by a special prosecutor. He had a special prosecutor when he was president for the document stuff, the whole her shit. So his family was under attack, constant congressional shit, he got more bipartisan legislation than literally anybody on the planet thought he could. Even Sam Cedar, the Majority Report, people like that, made this concession like, damn, he got a lot of shit done. Despite all of that, if you ask a conservative about Joe Biden, well, what do they say? Oh, he cracked down on free speech in 2020 and did all the lockdowns. It's like, okay, well, he wasn't president then. Oh, he was trying to control the social media companies, read the Twitter files. I did. That's not what they say. Oh, they try to do like this and this and this. And it's like, okay, he's literally a demon to you. Like Joe Biden is the joke was always, Gemzar had a really good piece of art about this. Like how many people are out here committing acts of terrorism or violence on behalf of Joe Biden? On behalf of Joe Biden. What? And then on the left, you've got subhuman loser fucks like this, calling him Genocide Joe. And it's like, Jesus Christ. But like, that's how detached we are from any kind of actual substantive analysis on anything. But again, I would say the conservatives have been pretty intentional about destroying the media environment to get to this point. And then obviously the far left people who don't care about actual political power getting elected anything, they're glad to throw their hat in with it as well. So Destiny, they support Hamas? Yeah, of course they do. All these people's beliefs can be predicted. My updated view of Hamas is that they are a justified form of militant Palestinian resistance against the state of Israel. Based. Good job.
Some kind of progressive stalwart. Like in 2018, where, like I mentioned, he was suspended for 30 days on Twitch for saying the F slur. This was one of many times he would be suspended, leading to his indefinite banning from...
Like, what? Why not go over any of my other suspensions? We're just going to pretend that I've gotten suspended over and over and over again for slurs on Twitch? Is that what the impression is that we're giving? It is. Is that the actual fact of what happened? It's not, but okay.
Twitch in 2022. Quote, Bunnell was indefinitely banned from Twitch due to hateful conduct in March 2022. Esports speculates this may have been due to Bunnell streaming with white nationalist Nick Fuentes, who had previously been banned on the platform, while Bunnell speculated it was due to him expressing the view that trans women shouldn't compete with cis women in women's athletics. Oh, I jumped the gun on that reveal, didn't I? Yeah, if you need another hint that he's not exactly the most progressive person, or at the very least doesn't have any genuine convictions about what he believes, he has palled around a lot with people like Nick Fuentes. This despite, in debates, calling him a Nazi.
For how you can start watching a Joe Rogan video and then go to Jordan Peterson and then wind up with more extremist figures like Nick Fuentes.
That feel when I have one dinner and it defines my entire life of loving Nick Fuentes. True.
Or maybe Lauren Southern or something like that, and then eventually go down that extremist road. But establishing that chain is a very complicated, very difficult thing to do.
But you do think it's possible, though, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course.
And also, I think at the beginning of your statement, you did kind of give a little bit of credence to Nick and also Sargon's point that maybe he acted out in this way because he didn't feel like he was able to discuss these issues without.
Yeah, why don't I ever get any credit for being radicalized? Like, I spent way more time with Hasan than every other right-winger I've ever spent time with. No? So why doesn't that count at all? Does it doesn't balance out, or it doesn't cancel out at all?
Being isolated or hated for it.
Oh yeah, sure, but that doesn't mean that I think that those views are legitimate or need to be platformed. I think that's a bad dichotomy, right? If somebody says like, I want to kill all black people, like, well, I'm going to fire you if you say that on Twitter, and then they go out and actually kill black people because they got banned from Twitter, you wouldn't say, well, hold on, like, should we be suppressing this man's views? He felt like he had no way to express them, and now he actually went, well, no. I mean, the idea is we need to not have people have these horrendously anti-immigrant views in society.
I do feel like it's kind of like
Also, why I hate it when people do this jump around thing, because my opinions on, especially related to free speech and platforming, have changed quite a bit over the years. But like, you can track the changes in my opinion. It's not like they just change because I hate a guy or like a guy or whatever else. I think I even said in my debate today, it's like a 55-45 opinion. It's it's a difficult terrain to navigate in terms of like how much bad shit should be platform versus not. Also, the Michael Shermer guy didn't admit it, but I think my question earlier, I think was a really good one. Would you say there's more or less free speech today on Twitter than there was 3 years ago? There was probably more, but would you say Twitter is better or worse now than it was 3 years ago? It's definitely worse. It is absolutely a worse platform. So, but okay. Anyway, so here's a video from 7 years ago. Let's go.
Assumption to assume that whenever people tell you to stop talking about something or they stop you from talking about something, you automatically assume that that's because what you're...
True, actually. I probably have debated Nick Fuentes more than any other person on the internet. That's probably true. Yeah.
Actually saying is true. I don't know if that's always accurate, but basically what Nick and Sargon are saying is that these extremist opinions are bred in isolation. So Destiny and Hasan, the question I have for you guys is, do you feel like it would be helpful to the society to bring these extreme opinions of the right into the fold and actually have conversations about them rather than ostracizing these people from the community entirely?
In a very careful manner where you can catch bad faith actors. So like Fuentes is somebody that I would consider a bad faith actor. If you have very careful areas where you can catch people out on them lying, yeah, I would say that there's value in it. This was a horribly irresponsible statement. It empowers the fuck out of Nazi scum like fucking Nick. It is not his area of expertise. It is not something he was able to substantiate in any way, shape, or form. And the fact that you continue to appeal to, well, he was really important, only supports my argument.
I suppose liberal...
I feel like I don't know if I've ever changed my view on that over the past 6 or 7 years.
Is a pretty fitting label then, because it seems he'd rather literally ally with open Nazis by his own definitions than ever engage with actual progressive leftists. He would rather constantly chat and collaborate and chill with people who advocate violence and bigotry.
I have no problem debating leftists and progressives. They just started to avoid me once they realized, like, I debated Michael Albert, who authored the book on participatory economics, who's a leftist. I debated the Professor Wolf, who's like one of the larger left-leaning lefties, professor people, I guess. I don't even know what the fuck that guy studied in. I debated Sam Cedar twice, 3 times. Yeah, Ben Burgess a couple times. I had sort of a conversation with Michael Brooks, whatever the fuck that was. Like, what I debated Norm Finkelstein. Like, what are we talking about? That I'm too scared. I've debated Cenk however many times, although I don't even know what the fuck his political views are. What is this idea that I won't debate left-leaning figures? Wait, what?
And racism than people who technically agree with far more of his positions and the platform that Steven says he identifies with.
Something unique that I provide that I think is really important to some of these alternative communities is I'm like the only person that is progressive that like isn't fucking unhinged. And I think it's really good sometimes to show people like, hey, you can be pro-LGBT, you can have like blue hair, be in like weird relationships, whatever, but I can be like a funny, cool, charismatic, like we can have fun and chill, and I can be like understanding of you and not be like super judgmental or try to cancel and be horrible.
I'll give him credit where it is due, as I've watched plenty.
I don't think I'm... In that conversation, I don't think I'm talking about fucking Nazis. No? I'm pretty sure I'm talking about, like, you might say, like, the word retarded, and I'm not going to sit here and chastise you or say you're a horrible, evil person. I think I'm talking about people who are, like, pro-deportation of everybody darker skinned than me, but okay.
Many of his debate streams and interviews for research, Steven is a gifted debater, due in no small part to his abrasiveness.
Oh, true. He talks fast, calls people names, and screams over them constantly, never giving them a chance to put together their ideas.
To trample over others' thoughts and emotions to get to a point. It makes him very engaging to watch, and if you agree with him, it gives a rousing sense of victory, watching him make conservatives scamper back from one point to another when provided with facts and figures that disprove their assertions in front of a discerning audience. As I watched countless hours of him...
Is there a single video about you like this that doesn't claim you're somehow picky about debates. No, because this is part of the myth. In my opinion, and I stand by this more and more, I got a little bit mindfucked by Hasan's community doing this and Hasan doing this, but he's more transparent about it now. The whole idea that like, oh, debates are cringe, guys. We shouldn't do debates. And now I can see that when Hasan was saying that, and I started to echo that. I was like, well, I guess you don't have to be a debater. That's fine. You shouldn't have to debate just because you're a political person. But Hasan is thirsty as fuck for debates when he thinks he can win them. We saw that with Willie Mack. We saw that with Asmongold. We saw that with Ethan when he couldn't avoid it anymore. So everybody likes debates just when they think they're on the upper end of it, or on the when they have the upper hand. I think a thing that I think is really important is a person being willing to discuss their beliefs with anybody. And if you're not willing to discuss your beliefs with anybody, I think that's a huge red flag. And I think that is an unassailable point. I think that always holds true. So you have to have this like weird feeling that I dodge debates with leftists, because if I'm willing to argue with all of them constantly, then it undermines your point that I'm not confident about debating them, or that I'll only debate one side, I guess. I don't know. It's stupid. Like, it's just, this is part of the, or the 15-year-old Israeli that Hasan wanted to fuck or debate or whatever. Sorry. Whoops. This is like it's just part of the myth of me being scared of lefties because they're so smart and intimidating to me.
His debates, I found myself wondering if someone could even get to his level of popularity in the debate space without being so roughshod. If he let his opponents simply uncritically state their opinions each time instead of trampling over them for viewers' vicarious pleasure like a conversational gladiator.
And like this is annoying too, because this person says that they put in months of research, but you're not. You're just like repeating every, I don't know if this is a Kiwi Farms video or if this is like I don't know if Hasan posted or something. Like, you're just repeating talking points about me. There are debates where I'm screaming at people, and there are debates where we're just having a calm back and forth. Like, I do all of these all the time. I probably have more calm debates than more inflammatory ones, but the inflammatory ones obviously get more views and clicks because people like to see the screaming at each other. But there are plenty of conversations I have where it's just both of us chatting back and forth. But like they're very easy to find. Like, you just look at my, I just had one this morning. Yeah.
How interesting would this be to watch? If there's one thing he does understand about the debate space, it's the spectacle. He understands how to draw blood from his subjects and how to get the audience to cheer in response. You can even see this in how he advertises his debates, sharing them via social media like intellectual boxing matches where he will square off against any opponent. Like if Ryu wandered the world looking for the best high school.
Well, yeah, these are, first of all, I'm not doing the promo for this, Pangburn is, but that's fine. I mean, you can say that these are advertised as like a battle debate style thing, for sure. But I mean, we're selling tickets to a live event to try to sell these out to get people to go. They are advertised as very adversarial, but like, you can also just go and watch the debate. Like, I wasn't screaming at D'Souza ever. I wasn't cutting him off constantly or interrupting him and calling him names and doing anything crazy like that. Like, those are I think it was a very contentious debate, but I would say it was a fairly cordial debate. Maybe she'll clip some parts from either of these. Oh, the other one hasn't happened yet. Maybe she'll clip some parts from this debate where I'm being incredibly inflammatory or rude or evil or
a school debate coach to test his skill against. And when you watch him during these debates, you can see him flip a switch for debating versus media, like intellectual boxing matches where he will square off against any opponent. Like if Ryu wandered the world looking for the best high school debate coach.
And then this insult doesn't even make sense. The whole high school debate coach. Wouldn't a debate coach tell you to have like calm conversations? Like, or I didn't take debate in high school. In debate in high school, do they tell you to scream at your opponent and call them names and to emotionally dysregulate that? Like, is that, I don't know, maybe that's what they do in high school debate. I've never heard that before, but I didn't take high school debate, so what the fuck do I know?
To test his skill against. And when you watch him during these debates, you can see him flip a switch for debating versus when he's just in a conversation. He will go onto misogynistic podcasts and politely chat it up with right-wing assholes and even laugh along as they prostrate an OnlyFans girl or a feminist.
Before we do, no, hold on, you can, hold on. What was your intention in coming on tonight?
Be in have a lovely discussion with you fine people about dating talk
so
in the 21st
clearly
century.
That's a lie. Are you going to continue in bad faith?
I don't know, am I?
Dude, oh my god.
At this point, probably just get off because honestly, like, you just keep getting lost in these loops. She doesn't like you or your show. She came on the show to obstruct constructive conversation.
No, you don't. I'm having a good time.
No, if you like the show, you would actually be good faith.
Play the sound effect. There's no.
Go. Does she think that me and Melina and Aaron were on their side for this? There were so many brutal clips that especially Melina farmed against this weirdo fucking Lamborghini renting, one suit owning motherfucker over here. Your takeaway from this debate is that we were palling along with them after Aaron got kicked off?
Would you let her in your polycule?
Aaron, you should go.
Yeah, you should just leave.
Please leave.
Can you leave? I don't know if your friend wants to come with you. But
I will leave you guys to ask the very important questions about Stephen and Melina's relationship and diving more
Thank
into
you.
that.
That's lovely.
Thank you so much. See you next week. Bye-bye. We love you.
Peace out.
Quickly.
You too.
Quickly.
Bro, hello.
So,
just, they're friends with you.
No, we are all friends. We all drove here together. But to be clear, just because I want to be clear, I would never make plans like fuck with the show because it hurts my reputation. I would never do.
But then when the debate cameras are rolling, he's an absolute bloodhound. One tactic that makes him look so
Aaron was being incredibly obstinate for this show, which I thought was funny, and I thought it was fine. I thought it was funny. But I mean, like, obviously you're gonna get kicked off if you do that. But I mean, if she wants to, I think it was fine. I don't know. I thought it was. This is such a stupid. I don't know. Okay, this is such a stupid critique, but all right.
Good is how he has all but
no. It's not all right. This was retarded. There's no reasonable world where you watch me on that show and you think that me and Melina are friendly towards Brian. Like we're cordial insofar as I guess friendly insofar as we're not trying to like interrupt and get kicked off the show, but like. Yeah, I don't know. This is retarded. I watch my debate with Michael Brooks or Professor Wolf or with Norman Finkelstein. Again, I'm not like screaming or shouting at these people constantly, even though Norman Finkelstein was literally calling me names the entire fucking debate.
But then when the debate cameras are rolling, he is an absolute bloodhound. One tactic that makes him look so good is how
wait, the debate cameras were rolling for that. Those were the debate cameras. That's what you were watching that through.
Has all but memorized certain definitions to argue, likely studying up on them and other factoids before the debate. But then during the debate that makes him look so good is how he has all but memorized certain definitions to argue, likely studying up on them and other factoids before the debate. But then during the debate, he can ask a simple question like, what is democracy? Usually as a pressure point when his opponent is faltering. And Stephen will whip out Merriam-Webster-ass definitions that utterly bamboozle his unprepared opponent.
We'll see what the example is for this.
It's simple but incredibly effective. It's like watching Jordan in his prime dunk on a toddler.
A democracy is where a bunch of lunatics like you can vote away my rights. A democracy is where 3 wolves and a sheep vote what's for dinner.
Is that Article 5 or Article 6? I don't know what part of the Constitution. So a democracy is when multiple people vote. A republic is when you have representatives that do things for you. We are a representative democracy.
That was a Merriam-Webster dictionary just to explain there's between a democracy and a republic, and he's the one that brought the definition up first. How is this a hit on me? Also, is this debate in 2024? Wait, what? How am I getting attacked for this? This guy's arguing with me about saying the whole, like, we live in a representative democracy or a constitutional republic. I don't remember what stupid fucking talking point he brought up.
Democracy. That's why we're a constitutional republic. We are both a republic, which just means you're not a monarchy and a democracy. This idea that we must be a republic because I'm a Republican and we're not a democracy because you're a Democrat is fucking retarded. Come on.
Additionally, when...
What? That was a Merriam-Webster okay, dictionary. Okay, base. Okay.
He's in his debate mode. He's all but bulletproof to personal attack. Look at this clip.
Also, yeah, I'm in debate mode. Yeah, we're hardcore debating each other. I think this guy had already thrown a few personal attacks at me, maybe. But this is like a very contentious, hardcore debate. This is like a hardcore debatey platform for the, what was it called? Uncensored America, I think. It's probably written on the wallpaper in the back, yeah.
Former InfoWars host Owen Schroyer is floundering in front of a crowd and calls Stephen a cuck, referencing a non-controversy involving Stephen being polyamorous with his ex-wife. Stephen just laughs because he knows Owen is playing into his trap. Destiny thrives best when he can make someone else lose their cool and get desperate. He pokes and prods until they get so spitting angry, they start slinging insults as he smugly stands back, knowing even his smugness will keep making them mad.
Wait, what is this from? Or what is she quoting from for this? Like, how can me out debating you force you to call me a cuckold? That's your problem, not mine. What the fuck? Wait, what?
Want to know what happens when you speak truth to power? Everything this guy just said. I've been censored, I've been imprisoned, I've been assaulted, I've had my businesses shut down. This guy's dealt with nothing except cucking to his wife's boyfriend.
I see those 60 days in federal prison weren't kind to you. I'm sorry that you weren't able to do the podcast.
Damn.
In prison like you want.
That was a good one.
I know that's still upsetting you a lot. Only one of us up here has been arrested for trying to be a part of a coup or an insurrection against the United States. Only one of us up here hates this country. And I think it's pretty obvious it's the guy that doesn't even acknowledge the results of the last election. One of the most important foundational pieces of the United States.
So stop stealing them. So stop stealing them.
Which is no one's stealing it. No one's stealing it.
Damn.
He's rage baiting.
I'm rage baiting there? He did a personal insult against me. I flipped it around. Well, hold on. That was a really good line of attack. He did a personal insult against me. A baseless one also. Even if I was a cuck, first of all, if I am a cuck, every single time you call me a cuck publicly, I'm literally getting off to it because I'm pretty sure part of cuckoldry is humiliation. Okay, so thank you. Okay, but I flipped it around and I did a personal insult against him related to a prison sentence that he served, related to January 6th, which was related to trying to coup the government, which was related to the debate that we were having. How is that me rage baiting? What?
Stop stealing them. So stop stealing them.
Which is
so stop
no one's stealing it. No one's stealing it.
He's rage baiting. It's trolling. That's it. His primary debate tactics
is trolling. What? Like I don't believe any of the things that I just said? Like I'm grifting? Like I'm just saying things just to get a rise out of him? He hit me first. He went in on me first personally. And my attack was relevant to the debate. His was totally irrelevant and personal. This person is rage baiting me. That's what's happening right now.
Are no different than internet trolling, in the process exposing how infantile and often ill-informed his opponents are. But by the time the battle reaches this point, they've already lost, and every bit of momentum they throw at him, he can just turn back on them like a fucking Aikido master.
True. Thank you. I am. Thank you. True.
To give him the flowers he's due.
Thank you.
This shit is what he's good at. It's kind of an inverse of what Steven Crowder and Charlie Kirk did. My issues with Steven honestly aren't in his debating or rhetorical strategies. And for that reason,
well, but the thing you like about my debating strategies isn't even accurate. I do more research than any of these fucking losers on the internet, including the fucking losers that you look up to. Like, I can have substantive debates or conversations with more educated people. Now they'll all dodge them, as they should. But, okay.
Not going to be arguing against his ideology or arguments too much, because despite differences, I think they're ultimately...
Oh, thank you. What? We should have just said this at the start of the video. I'm not here to actually argue against any of his ideas or any of the substance of anything that he says or believes in. I'm here to pathologize everything. I just want to do the psychoanalysis. This, if you were going to call anything parasocial, this is parasocial. There's this guy. I'm doing this 3-hour video on him. Yeah, what's it about? They're a horrible person. Why? What do they say or do? You gotta... So there's the Mr. Girl report. The hours of streams with Anna. These things from 2012. It's like, okay. Why not just like repost every old video on the internet about me? They could have like every single time I walk into one of these videos, a new hit piece on me, it's like it's like I'm walking into this room and it's like, oh, it's the same 100 clips or whatever, the same, not really, it's more like the same 10 clips that get played over and over and over and over and over again. Oh, look.
Eventuality of...
Oh, that's where he said he wanted to murder the DDoS kid. Oh, that's where he said 15-year-olds where it can be hot. Oh, this is the one about Mia Rose where he raped her. Oh, this is the one where he wanted to mow down dipshit protesters with a car. Oh, it's like, oh, awesome, cool. Every single time, yes. Yes!
Ultimately small potatoes compared to the real issue. How he's used his platform to hurt people, avoid accountability, and target others for harassment. I mentioned earlier how people will likely already be saying I should address his arguments instead of attacking him. But
no. Damn, I look like a serial killer here. Based?
His arguments aren't the problem. He is. I mean, even the worst things he said and argued, like his infamous support for running over peaceful protesters. Or...
What? It was shooting. Kyle Rittenhouse had a gun. It was for shooting. Why? Hasan talking about running him over the car is so dumb.
Supporting the genocide in Gaza aren't based in actual political belief. They don't.
Oh, so I don't have pages and pages or dozens or hundreds of pages of stuff that I've written about supporting anything related to Israel, Gaza, or I don't have any principled stance on self-defense or anything that I've been pretty consistent on for my entire life. Oh.
Don't seem to be, but more personal convenience and understanding. And
I'm so personally convenienced by my stance on Israel. Ching. More, where's my Israeli bucks? Yes.
This distinction because throughout this video, I'll be talking about the things he does believe, but I don't want this to turn into a debate about why he's wrong, but instead a discussion on why the things he's saying often either make him a hypocrite.
Oh my God.
Or serve his ulterior motives, those most often being either business related or hedonism.
Yes.
I've spoken many times about how I don't particularly find debates useful for converting or changing people's minds. I did a whole video on the recent spate of Jubilee controversy, so go watch that video for a more in-depth explanation of my thoughts on the debate space. I'll accept that Destiny's willingness to go toe-to-toe with almost anyone or even fight dirty and rely on insults has probably led a decent amount of people away from alt-right or right-wing leaning online spaces.
Cool.
Or at the very least that it's exposed people in those spaces to more progressive issues. I won't, however, accept Stephen's framing that he gives for this approach, which is to most often depict himself as the lone warrior of truth, the only truly rational person arguing from the left.
I'm like the only person that is progressive that like isn't fucking unhinged.
For someone in these political spaces for so long, he knows this isn't true. He knows that plenty of other people on the left have been controversial. He's fully aware of the dirtbag left contingent, but that's a topic for further into the video.
Yeah, but the dirtbag left people are also people that I would call fucking crazy because they're all tankies and they're dirtbag in a bad way. They're just like racist and homophobic. I'm not racist and homophobic. I just think edgy humor is funny. What? Like these... maybe the distinction doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. This is why I argue about the private and public joke thing. This is why I said there's certain jokes that I make in private. I just don't make them publicly. I just don't think it's worth it because I don't know how my community will take it. I don't know the type of people that hear your jokes. It's just not worth it. I don't like the dirtbag left. I think those people are deplorable. And a lot of them are just straight fucking like bigoted. I'm sorry. All the weird tweets and everything about Pete Buttigieg that came from all of those fucking weirdo, creepy, whatever people on the left, that was weird shit. And it was just homophobic and it was kind of fucking strange. And I don't know. When I say, yeah, I'm not like one of those crazy lunatics or whatever on the left. Well, I guess technically I'm not including those people. I am talking about the crazy progressive people. But I wouldn't throw my hat in to the same ring as the dirtbag left people either. Those people are also like exclusively socialists and tankies and commies as well.
Video. Before that, we have some other matters to attend to. The thing that really led me down the rabbit hole to understanding Stephen better wasn't his beliefs or his platform, but the way he debates, and more importantly, who he associates with for platforming said content. Because while he and many others in the mainstream media might credit him for being a brave debater treading where others dare not, the truth is, when you look at all the facts and data, he might be a convincing debater, but he has very little real consistency aside from using shock tactics and controversy to raise his profile. And part of that shock value has always been platforming and being platformed by the far right.
Who have I spent more time on stream with? I feel like it's probably left-leaning people over right-leaning people. No? I did this one stream with Nick in person. I know I've had a few debates with him in person. I used to talk with Irish Laddie / Vosh quite a bit. I was on stream with Hasan. We would go out and do IRL streams. Maybe not a ton. And then we had a lot of on-stream time together. I feel like in the totality of my streaming time, unless there's a right-winger that I'm not thinking of, you literally created Vosh and Hasan. True. Who the fuck besides, like, is there a right-winger? Lauren Southern? I don't think I was on stream with her much. I feel like we did like 2 or 3 debates on stream. Fresh and Fit, we've done debates before, but I don't think I've done... Oh, Sneeko maybe more friendly-ish, although we were trying to save him, and we failed. Rip. Dan, true. The amount of times people reuse your Fuentes stream footage now exceeds the actual footage itself. True.
Immediately, the term guilt by association pops to mind. And, of course, knowing Destiny and his followers' penchant for pedantry, I'm sure some are already writing pitchforks in the comments to let me know that just because he hangs out with people he disagrees with doesn't make him a bad person. And I'm not saying that.
Wait, what? That's a non sequitur. Just because he hangs out with people he doesn't agree with doesn't make him a bad person. It has nothing to do with being a bad or good person. It just has to do with whether or not you share their beliefs or not. I could hang out with people who have different beliefs than me that I don't share beliefs with and still be a bad person. Like, these two things don't connect at all. But okay.
Because the way Destiny associates
with... you could argue that was me being pedantic, but it's a slop essay that you said you worked on for months, so you should have your points straight, and everything this person said so far has been stupid.
People, brands, companies, movements, and groups go so far beyond merely guilt by association because he is genuinely guilty of spreading harmful ideas by helping to platform them in exchange for attention. To him, this isn't a matter of beliefs or conviction, it's business and the benefits that come with it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's YouTube. Everything is going to be about business to some extent if I'm doing anything on YouTube, right? That's kind of how it works. We're broadcasting and streaming all of it. You could argue that I've done a lot of real life political stuff that didn't directly benefit my YouTuber streaming stuff, right? All the canvassing stuff, all the political stuff, all the Unfuck America stuff. Like, in general, this takes away from my stream time. It takes away from my money. It's a big time investment. Sometimes it's a monetary investment. But I mean, none of that counts, I guess. No one cares about that, I guess.
Really the point underlined here.
And then if I bring this up, they say, oh, you only did that so that you could bring it up to use it in a debate. It's like, okay, well, fuck me, I guess. True. I'm just evil.
It's business and the benefits that come with it. That's really the point to underline here. He will do just about anything if it benefits.
I should just become a right-winger. You know why? Because I'll fucking say it. Doing content with Nick Fuentes is better than all of these insufferable motherfuckers. And me and Nick, you know what? We're high genetic stock, okay? Because we have the hidden ingredient that all of the master race people in the past were missing. And that is racial mixture, okay? Because diversity is our greatest strength. And me having my Cuban background and Nick having his Hispanic background makes us the strongest form of white nationalists. We're high genetic stock. We're high IQ. We can use big words. We can debate people. We can be funny. I should just become a full fucking Nazi. I have a good background for it and everything. I could just be the best fucking Nazi in the world. I'm already fucking canceled and banned from everything anyway, right? Jesus.
Him, even if it is often to the detriment of somebody else. Real quick, let's go back through Steven's history. Remember when we talked about his little Sargon of Akkad moment, the JonTron interview that sank JonTron's career? Up until this point, JonTron was a massive YouTube personality and almost overnight lost a seismic amount of goodwill, and it seems that Destiny got all of it, and he spent the ensuing decade plus burning it away little by little.
What? Also, I like how people only see one thing. Yeah, I got goodwill from people on the left. I got a fuck ton of hate from people on the right and the lay epic centrists as well. Like, I don't even know if I don't think the internet even supported me back then, because all of the support that I got from people back, hold on, I'm so sorry. And I will give myself a lot of credit here, okay? Because I'm the only motherfucking person that could have created a space for people like Hasan to even exist. It hasn't always been that left-leaning gaming spaces were friendly, or that gaming spaces were friendly towards left-leaning people. That was a space that I basically solo carved out on my fucking own while getting shit on by every motherfucker, by getting attacked by every motherfucker. When I would go into stream chats, every person on Twitch hated the fact that I was a libcuck, hated the fact that I was a leftist liberal or whatever. All these guys, all of Train's chats, XQC's early chats, all of these streams thought that I was a fucking loser libcuck lefty. And when I debated JonTron, the people that were giving me props were like the people that were in crowds with like the Anita Sarkeesian types. These people weren't even in the gaming industry. So anybody that would have been giving me props already hates me because I say retarded and because I'm a white male. Unironically, back then that was the case. So nobody's giving me props back then that's in my community. Everybody in these communities fucking hated me because this space hadn't been carved out yet. So to say that I'm doing this thing and I'm getting all this goodwill is just not true. I'm pretty sure, I don't know, if somebody can go and check, if you want evidence, like people are hindsighting this so much. Trying to say that like, oh, he got so much, why does my thing keep doing this? He got so much goodwill and blah, blah, blah. I think it took this video years, I think, to even get back to a 50-50 like-dislike rate. You guys can check it in chat. But it was like for years, this video had more dislikes than likes. This was not a well-received, popular video. Most of the people on the internet, as evidenced by the next few fights that I had over the ensuing months with fucking Ego Raptor. And I'm getting like the animator to fucking Metalocalypse, like tweeting at me that I'm a fucking asshole loser. Every motherfucker on the internet hated me after this. The only people that liked me were these people that were very far outside the communities I was in. Ugh. I hate it because like I worked so hard to create the space, and then these loser fucks like Hasan who would never survive for even a microsecond wander into this space thinking that like somehow they've created. It's like bullshit. You would have died. You would have killed yourself in this space earlier on. Ugh. But what are you gonna do? Yeah, even Total Biscuit. I'm pretty sure Total Biscuit was against me for this. I think Ethan the pedophile, H3H3, I think he was against me for this because they were all friends with each other and buddy-buddy with each other. Ugh, whatever. Dude, fuck me. You can check it on the back end and actually see the oh, wait, can I? Sky Williams. Yeah, nobody remembers some of these people. But edit video. Analytics? Engagement? Oh. What the fuck is this? In the hold on, okay. Since upload, lifetime. It doesn't tell me the number, but I think I can calculate it. It says likes versus dislikes are 63.2%. So does that mean that if you add up both and divide, what a weird way to show that. That'll give you the likes versus dislikes. My debating JonTron, or fuck it, I'll just screenshot it, I guess. Nobody remembers what these spaces used to be like, and that drives me crazy. I was the only fucking left-leaning gamer guy when the whole stupid Gamergate shit came out. I was literally the only fucking person on the left in these spaces, and I got roasted for it constantly. Channel average, 93.8%. Debating JonTron, 63.2%. And that's after a long time. Like I said, it took a long fucking time. It took a long fucking time for this to even get to the 50-50 mark. Oh yeah, the one, the lolicon drawer guy. I remember when he... This is the one guy, right? Is it Shadbase? You said the guy from Smiling Friends draw you after debating JonTron. Wasn't that Shadbase? Or Shadman? I don't know. But, Jesus.
Little. Seems JonTron's career. Up until this point, JonTron was a massive YouTube personality and almost overnight lost a seismic amount of goodwill. And it seems that Destiny got all of it. And he spent the ensuing decade plus burning it away little by little. And from...
Wait, what the fuck? Okay.
Here, he very quickly made the rounds through these spaces, getting a bigger profile every time he debated somebody like Lauren Southern.
Do you think that a Palestinian child or the family of a Palestinian child?
Israel care about that.
But dude, the bombs don't make the little shitty fucking RPGs don't even make it over the walls because Israel is one of the most sophisticated anti-missile dome systems in the fucking world. You're really comparing the military power of these two states? Come on, dude.
No. Okay, I'm saying the reason they're not just sitting there bombing hospitals and schools. You can't honestly believe they're just sitting there like, you know what? Let's fucking bomb a hospital.
Israel has literally been on record manufacturing reasons in the past to march into the West Bank and fucking exterminate people, dog. What do you mean?
Okay.
But
Partially true.
because you've seen a video, you know.
Too one-sided though. Those Palestinians are up to no good. Be careful.
Every other month or whatever, every few months of people, you know, well, these.
But you know what? I horseshoed back to this position because I'm tired of hearing about Israel's bullshit. Fuck them and fuck their activities. Okay.
Islams are committing terrorisms all over the place. They're homogenous people. They all think the same. Like, damn, that's not true. Like, if you go and you talk to people on the ground and you talk to a couple dozen people, you can manufacture any opinion that you want about any person that you want. That's the problem.
Okay, fine. Let's look at the peer-reviewed data on that by Pew Research on Muslims. Do you want to do that since you seem to like that a lot?
Do you have the peer-reviewed data on Christians as well?
Bring that up. I don't know. Do you have support that shows that like 70% of Christians believe that there should be arrest and prosecution for anyone who insults their religion? I'd love to see that because that exists in the UK for Muslims.
Do you understand the problem that you just committed fundamentally? Like that already shows like your own biases, right? You just said that you went to Pew Research to find stats on how Muslims think because you're already convinced that they're bad people and you don't even know the numbers on Christians. You don't even know them.
Good point.
We know that not
oh my God, I wasn't even on Vyvanse back then.
To live on welfare, that people have homes and families and memories from certain. These are. I know it's really hard to believe sometimes. Maybe I don't know what it's like in Canada, but these are actually human beings that have like their own dreams and aspirations and goals, and they have things that they like to do. That the goal of every human being isn't to just move somewhere and live off of welfare, right? You know that, right?
I mean, a lot of them want to live on welfare.
I know these clips are a little long, but as I was researching, I was continually surprised to find how much more empathetic Stephen was in his early career. This clip in particular shows off an entirely different side to his opinion on the Israel-Palestine situation.
2017? What? This would have been after. What the fuck was even going on? What the fuck? I don't. My mind is a blank from 2017 to 20. The Great March of Return would have been 2019. 2017 might have been. No, it wouldn't have been. Oh my God, I can't remember the name of that fucking neighborhood. Fuck, I even went there in East Jerusalem with the people who fight over who has the actual documents to the apartments. Somebody will say it in chat. Oh, Sheikh Jarrah or whatever. Was something going on back then for it? But
during these debates, he often appealed to his opponent's sense of humanity and reason, and I'm not sure how or why or when that changed. But
I mean, like, it depends on the debate, right? I've said this a million times. It's person, policy, platform. Who are you debating? What are you debating? Where are you debating them? It's always going to change the way that I approach it.
But I suspect it was partially due over time to his obstinance and defiance when criticized from the left, but also he often appealed to his opponent's sense of humanity and reason, and I'm not sure how or why or when that changed. But I suspect it was partially due over time to his obstinance and defiance when criticized from the left, but also a growing and friendly proximity to the right, where he was often greeted with open arms.
Oh, the historical rewriting. Oh, it's okay. This is what my midget brother Tyrion felt at the end of Lord of the Rings when they didn't put him in the book. I get it.
With progressives cutting out conservatives from every platform they can, is they lose the ability to defend any of their ideas. And then at the end of the day, I think they just end up looking horrible. Like, you'll get questions of like, well, what's one barrier? I think you asked, what's one barrier that you have as a woman in society? And it's like, well, I'm handicapped, I don't have any legs. Or it's like, well, I'm black. Or like, okay, what about the woman part, right? Nobody can answer that question. So you got a panel full of people that probably all have like feminist scholar bullshit in their Twitter bios. Not a single person can answer that question. So yeah, I don't know. Things like that like really bother me when people are supposed to be defending these ideas and they can't because they don't talk to conservatives anymore.
Many of these appearances.
What part of that supported the idea that conservatives welcome me with open arms? I feel like they've got like 50 random clips and they're like, okay, well, fuck, I got to tie these together somehow. Okay.
Even would engage with on the idea that others in his space, the perceived space, of course, being left-leaning content creators, wouldn't dare go on podcasts like Fresh and Fit or some C-tier internet debate composition because they just can't handle being outside their lefty fun zone. That everyone but Stephen is just a vapid idea vampire and being exposed to the sunlight of reactionary conservatism will do them like Stephen Dorff did that one vampire in the first Blade movie.
Please don't tell me that she's going to pick the only example person who will do the debates, because there is one person who will, but I've said this tons in the past, is Sam Cedar. He's the only guy I know who will show the fuck up like a wrecking ball anywhere. And I give him props for that. He's debated me 2 or 3 times.
Except that is very blatantly not the case. People who ideologically disagree with these troglodytes don't want to go into these spaces because people...
Oh, never mind. She's just going to defend them never doing it. Oh, okay.
can't handle being outside their lefty fun zone, that everyone but Steven is just a vapid idea vampire, and being exposed to the sunlight of reactionary conservatism will do them like Stephen Dorff did that one vampire in the first Blade movie. Except that is very blatantly not the case. People who ideologically disagree with these troglodytes don't want to go into these spaces because people like this are bad faith, not looking to earnestly engage, and neither are their fan bases. But
what does that sound like?
Also because, like most podcasts and just content in general, it's a pretty transparent attempt to clout chase. It has very little to do with being ideologically able to defend their viewpoint.
True.
Points, and more to do with not want to ingratiate themselves to the audiences of craven demagogues. And perhaps more embarrassing is when Destiny isn't in his debate me bro mode, he basically blends in completely with the right-wing grifters that he can admit are also taking advantage of their own audience.
All these people have every motivation to expose the other side, but those people are wrong. But you, the guy who's making tens of thousands of dollars selling me a message that the government is corrupt, I'm going to listen to you for government corruption? You who has no oversight? You who has no accountability? You who's not an elected official? You who can print whatever message or lie you want, which they have?
And I want to show that he does know the function he's playing in this attention ecosystem. See, on the right kind of takes anyone with a platform. More moderate voices in conservatism will interview incredulously platform and outright.
Why not just, instead of like doing your own half-baked retarded take on this, why not just copy what I've said verbatim about this? But like, again, like I've gone back and forth in my career multiple times on how I feel about participating in right-wing platforms. This is not a unique idea that you've had. Like, this is my lived experience. And it's great that you want to come in as a newcomer who's, I don't know, 19, 20 years old and has no concept of any of the history or any of the stuff. Like, I feel like for the JonTron debate for them, this is like a thing they read about in a wiki or something, and they had no idea that any of this stuff even existed or what the actual environments were like back then. Like, I've gone back and forth on this. What does it mean to engage with conservatives at all? Where I've been, there are times where I'm like, let's be a nice reach out to everybody. Then there are times where I'm like, let's be a fucking demon. I'm pretty sure right now I'm on pretty big demon time. And they even played clips of me on Piers Morgan earlier criticizing how much of on demon time I was. It's not like I have much ingratiation with any right-wing communities right now. Like, we're all these right-leaning communities that love me so much.
Anti-Semite Nazi like Nick Fuentes because it's one big propaganda game. And at the end of the day, the only real consistent ideology is growing a platform. It's why there's often no scruples about immediately embracing people who leave the left with very little hesitation or doubt when someone is professed to be a liberal who wants to talk about why they're now conservative or red-pilled or whatever. What good does scrutiny do when being undiscerning gives you so much more attention? Inversely, like I mentioned at the beginning, you can't get progressives or leftists to agree on shit. And that includes purity testing certain people, excluding them based on perceived slights, lack of personal growth, or other arbitrary metrics. When I made a feature-length documentary talking to former white nationalists, people who were in like actual groups like Atomwaffen Division, and I talked about how they wanted to help others leave that kind of hate behind, I got pushback from some parts of my audience. People accused me of platforming white nationalists and Nazis even as I spent a movie's runtime shit talking about. There are issues that require more nuance, and there is a overeager contingent of people on the left who too often hesitate to engage with that nuance. That much is true, but that's entirely different than what Destiny does. This is all to give an example that beliefs in these online spaces are not so often cut and dry. Most average, everyday people who aren't constantly, terminally politically online are actually probably closer to someone like Destiny, or what Destiny says, in their beliefs. They have some things they think are too far on either party line. They mostly just want to live a plentiful and productive life. Fair dues.
Wow. I wonder who else has said that before.
Thing Destiny does correctly assess is that a massive emphasis from leftists on identity politics have likely ostracized and even pushed otherwise well-intentioned people further right because of things like that.
That's the way that I see it.
Cringe. Don't misunderstand what this fucking loser means when they say that. Anytime you see a fucking loser fuck like this talk about, the left focuses too much on identity politics, and you're thinking, oh, cool, they've understood this thing and they're going to change it. What they are is it's always some tanky fucking disguise who's like, can we please stop talking about black people? I really want to talk about how evil America is. Can we please stop talking about women and bigotry and all this shit? I really just want to talk about like class-related stuff because that's the only fucking thing I care about. And when I have a one-dimensional view of society, it just makes everything so much easier to criticize. I just want to talk about the billionaires, please. Oh my God, it's so cringe.
On identity politics have likely ostracized and even pushed otherwise well-intentioned people further right because of things like that.
That's the way that I see it, is that you've kind of got like this progressive establishment that has basically, through all of these kind of like academic terms, have like built up this idea that you can say like men, white people, the Mayo side, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But like every other racial minority is super protected. Can't make fun of black people, can't make fun of Hispanic people, can't, right? And then if you're white, there's like 50 million things to worry about. When you have that type of attitude and then it becomes pervasive on your side, then I mean, invariably there's going to be other people that will start to speak to the disaffected people.
But then people make blanket statements about anyone further to the left of himself. In the process, he's often doing it to court favor with whatever Dude Bro podcast he's filling in on. Because in these moments, he's capitulating to them. He's showing the right-wingers who will take anyone in that he is the reasonable liberal, not the crazy campus lefty. In effect, he's doing the exact same thing that he often accuses the left of doing to conservatives. Lumping them all in because one or two people he doesn't like are there. I'm sure...
No. If you think I've lumped somebody in that's not fair to lump them in on, then point that out. But me saying this is the left-wing contingent of politics that I disagree with, and I don't think I've ever identified somebody who's part of that who's not, and I'm not like this for these reasons, it's not me lumping anybody in together with anybody. My issue with the right is that when they talk about the left, they're not usually talking about anything that's representative of center-left Democrats at all. Like this person just said, 5 minutes ago, most people who are Democrats, believe it or not, even though my messaging is kind of extreme and I can be kind of wacky and crazy sometimes, most Democrats are probably closer to my political beliefs, actually are absolutely closer to my political beliefs than fucking Hasan or any of the dirtbag leftists or whatever. Like, that's probably just true.
Many.
So I don't think trying to separate myself from people who are further left than me, I don't think is lumping everybody together. I don't even think those people would disagree with me.
Accuses the left of doing to conservatives, lumping them all in because one or two people he doesn't like are there. I'm sure many.
Lumping them in because they're people I don't like? What am I wrong about? Can I get like an actual analysis? Like who am I lumping together, or who am I saying is further left than me on some belief that's just not true?
Would argue there's a honey vinegar dynamic that by going into these spaces and presenting reasonable fact-based arguments to counter the narratives being sold to often young men is a good goal, which I might agree with if I thought most of the people Destiny engaged with acted in good faith, but
they don't have to act in good faith. The point is you're always aimed at the audience, not the people who are doing the podcast, obviously, right? They're not going to change their opinion, maybe ever. They're too market captured to actually change their opinion, or they could just be stubborn, right?
Don't. They're merely using Destiny as a tool, in the process normalizing their often incendiary and antisocial beliefs to Destiny's very large and already transgressive audience. And he knows.
My transgressive audience? I hardly have any trans people now. Just kidding, stop. What? I feel like my audience is, for a political streamer of my size, who's not like a wacko crazy lefty, especially given that they tend to be younger, I feel like we do pretty good when it comes to bigotry or anything else. Like, put my audience up against anybody else's, I would feel comfortable that my audience would win that fight.
Their often incendiary and antisocial beliefs to Destiny's very large and already transgressive audience. And he knows this. He knows that these people aren't arguing in good faith and that they're using him for his audience. It's a accepted byproduct of our content ecosystem.
Shout out to DGG.
An almost unspoken quid pro quo system where, for example, I'll be invited onto a podcast and later on I'll hit up one of the podcast hosts to then go and be on my podcast or join me on a charity stream, each of us being able to expose the other's audience to reach each other in a mutual game of growth and therefore profit. Make no mistake about what's happening here. Every time Destiny has gone on a podcast or debate where someone may have been presenting as hostile to him, it was because of the views he thought that encounter would get him. And when you're a content creator...
Again, like, yeah, but I mean, like... It's like, that's kind of the goal, right? Like, if I have a political idea, my goal is to expose as many people to that idea as possible and to convert people to the political ideology that I have. Well, of course. As opposed to what? Going to the most politically ineffective places, or just preaching to the choir, or going to places where I don't feel like I can convert any person to my side? Like, yeah, I mean, what? Obviously, I don't understand what this is even... This isn't a real critique. This is like a truism. You're just trying, like, imagine saying this to, it's not the exact same role, but imagine saying to like a politician, oh, well, actually, I'm sorry. People do say this to politicians. People will say shit like, oh, well, you're just doing this to get more votes. It's like, good, they should try to get more votes. They're a fucking politician. Their goal is to get elected and to do things that more people want so that they get more votes. That's the point. Like, yeah.
As hostile to him, it was because of the views he thought that encounter would get him.
But also, I'm sorry, even while I maintain that and I'll defend that position, I go on more small podcasts and talk to more small creators than any motherfucker on the internet that's my size or people that are even smaller than my size. I brought so many random people on. I've talked to so many random duders. I've talked like, I gave that stupid fuck interview to the guy who ended up clipping the interview and trying to use it as an attack hits piece against me. When this guy, how many views did this guy even have on his YouTube channel? Who am I talking about? Destiny, Dan, YouTube, hit piece. Fuck, I'm not. Damn, look at these thumbnails. Ryan Beard. No, it's some fucking, it was a small. This vid.
So, would you say
40, this guy even have 50,000 subs on YouTube, and he's politically different than me, and I agreed to give this guy an interview. Off stream, I didn't even stream or record it. I don't even have the fucking whole interview that I did. Whatever. When was the last small podcast that Hasan went on? Seriously, you want to talk about clout obsessed?
And when you're a content creator, that is one of the most important things possible. I know this as much as Steven.
What's up, Steven Bennell?
I'm only 20 minutes into this 120-minute video. We got a lot of weird things being said here.
Free content for you, my man.
It is indeed.
This discussion of the numbers or the success of a stream or debate and how big and therefore successful it will be is something that lingers in the shadows of many of his discussions and appearances, but it's there if you look for it. They constantly joke about how well a video is going to do and what's going to make good content. Even slightly more recently, in a debate from 2022, he's able to assert that Nick makes tens of thousands shilling conspiracy theories to illustrate how Nick has an established interest in spreading misinformation. This was after collaborating with Nick Fuentes for several years.
Before we jump into this, okay,
collaborating with Nick Fuentes for several years? Excuse me, what? Do you think I've done... I'm trying to think. My memory does suck for something. I'm trying to... Do you think I've done more or less than 10 stream appearances in my life with Nick Fuentes? Like we did... I'm trying to think, because during the Sneeko time, I might have done a few. I'm trying to think if I've done more or less than 10, maybe more or less than 15? I feel like I've probably been on stream with Nick Fuentes more than, or less than 15 times in my life. Like we did the big Asmongold hosted debate, obviously. I know that I did we did the live stream or whatever, where we did the chicken and waffle stuff. We did there were at least a few with Sneeko. I think, I'm pretty sure. I'll add 3 or 4 to that. We did a Ukraine debate, which would be another one. I feel like it might have literally been Destiny. Guess an exact number. I have the answer. Do you have the answer? I don't know, 9? I don't know. What's the exact answer? It's going to be like 27. There's going to be some time where we did like 7 streams in a row and I forgot about it. Oh, no, you're one of the wiki guys. How many? Oh, fuck. Okay, 17 times. Still, over what time span is that? You did the debate about immigration and the Hart-Celler Act? Oh, true. That's true. Oh, there were 2 debates for that one, right? From 2017 to 2024. Several years of collaboration. We did the immigration debate in 2017. He was on a panel debate. I totally forgot about this one. With Lauren Southern, no bullshit. Lauren Chen, when she was roaming millennial. Another immigration debate. The big Scuffed podcast episode. The kill stream episode. Oh, he called into this one, right? I think. This was I don't even remember this one, 2022. Fuentes teams up with Infrared Haas versus Destiny in impromptu debate. Okay. And then me and Rose Wrist debated Fuentes and Baked Alaska. Lauren Manifesto leads to Fuentes shouting match. 2022 was probably this Red Pill era would have been my most active. She should have just said, she should have restricted it to 2022. But even in 2022, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 would have been my most accurate. 9 streams in a year for somebody that streams every day. 17 streams over 7 years is we did content together for several years.
Interest in spreading misinformation. This was after collaborating with Nick Fuentes for several years.
Before we jump into this, okay, I just be clear about who you're talking to and what the goal of the conversation is, okay? Nick has a political movement, a political ideology. His goal is not to sell you truth or to sell you a critical thought process. His goal is to sell you his political ideology.
This is me collaborating with Nick, by the way.
So if he comes across some idea that's contrary to what he believes, or some thought or fact that is contrary to his beliefs, he's not going to tell you that, and he's not going to incorporate it into his world. He's only going to give you the piece of information that he uses to sell his ideology.
He talks about how he knows why Nick has audience, and how spreading that misinformation plays into that.
It's good to ask questions.
Yes, yeah.
But you guys don't just ask questions. You guys believe in literally every single fucking conspiracy in the world. Do you think the government puts...
At the end of that clip, which is on Destiny's channel, shows Nick and Sneeko, and they've gotten Destiny to agree to another debate, gleefully exclaiming that they're about to red pill so many people.
Are you being paid by the government?
Give me a time and a date. Bro, you're getting paid to tell people exactly what they want to hear. That's the difference between you and me. You're getting paid to tell your audience exactly what they want to hear. Are you making money doing what you're doing?
Hardly. We have some Turkish payment process.
You're about to fly to fucking Florida to have a little vacation. What happened to that 400,000 in crypto? Listen. Obviously, you're getting paid. You're getting money. You're not broke. 9/11 debate on the 22nd.
Let's go!
At 6 p.m., okay?
Dude, Sneeko, we're going to red pill everybody.
It's a fucking 5-hour documentary, though.
It's good content. The controversy he gets by these people simply engaging with him is why he does it. And Nick is a particularly interesting case because they've...
Why just the controversy? It can't be because I genuinely believe in any of the underlying points. Like, yeah, the controversy is part of it, but I mean, like, it's politics. There's always... Like, you can't divorce the two. Like, every single political figure that is of no... Like, AOC... you know, did back and forth controversy with the Democrats and other people a ton. Bernie Sanders had a whole controversial presidential run. Donald Trump is probably the most controversial, divisive figure in U.S. political history. Like, it's politics.
Had such a close proximity to one another for so long. In a 2023 Fresh and Fit podcast, Nick even says he's trying to be...
Wait, what? Had such close proximity?
The controversy he gets by these people simply engaging with him is why he does it. And Nick is a particularly interesting case because they've had such a close proximity to one another for so long. In a 2023 Fresh and Fit podcast, Nick even says he's trying to be Destiny's friend.
I do, you know, and by the way, and I don't hate you. I disagree with you, but I don't hate you. I try to be your friend. That's okay. One day you'll come around.
He also has an obvious respect for the sniveling worm.
But what does that imply, though? One day we're going to be friends. It implies that I'm not. No, isn't that the implication there?
That is Nick Fuentes. In this 2025 clip, he is ceding to a fan of Nick's that he performed poorly in their last debate and chalks it up to Nick being an ideologue, talking about ideology which Destiny admits he's just not good with.
I watched you for years. After watching Nick for a year, I can say leagues above you. Yeah, I think the last debate I had with Nick was fucking pathetic. And then the second one I had with him over immigration stuff was pathetic. He's good at like ideologue. If you like to listen to people monologue their ideology and just do that all day, yeah, I mean, Nick is a good guy to listen to. I'm really bad at that stuff. I just like researching shit and debating people on stuff, and I'm a little bit more
Wait, was this cut? The first debate I did with him was very bad. Or not very bad. It was not good. The second one, when I say it's pathetic, wouldn't I be referring to his performance? I feel like on the second one, he got destroyed. Because when I did the research and I came back for the second one, he couldn't counter any of the talking points. He was just, that's when I realized, oh, he's just an ideologue. I'm curious if this was cut to make it sound like I feel like I did poorly on both those debates.
Ideology and just do that all day. Yeah, I mean, Nick is a good guy to listen to. I'm really bad at that stuff. I just like researching shit and debating people on stuff, and I'm a little bit more discreet versus kind of like narratively driven. But
these brief conversational...
I watched you for years. After watching Nick for a year, I can say leagues above you. Yeah, I think the last debate I had with Nick was fucking pathetic. And then the second one I had with him over immigration stuff was pathetic. He's good at like ideologue. If you like...
Source, Destiny. Somebody link me this video. They are not sourcing correctly. That's not your channel. That's a fan channel. Link it to me.
Like to listen to people monologue their ideology and just do that all day. Yeah, I mean...
What was the last debate I feel... I'm trying to think of what I would have been talking about here. I feel like I did... I don't remember how I feel like I did on him, or did against him on the Fresh and Fit thing. I don't remember. It was kind of clusterfucky. The one against that wasn't the one that the Ryan guy was on. What's his name? The weird neo-Nazi dude who lives in Japan. That guy got obliterated. But I don't remember if Fuentes was on that or not. Woo!
Leagues above you.
What?
Yeah, I think
that guy got annihilated. Hold on, what was this? I do suck at like narrative style debates though, or I'm just not a very narratively driven person. I have to like think really hard about that stuff.
Because of the nature of what PayPal is, which is a peer-to-peer payment system, so it's deeply in touch with the financial industry and state regulations. The real connection to intelligence is that it comes from Stanford University. That was his origin story. He founded the Stanford.
I watched you for years. After watching Nick for a year, I can say leagues above you. Yeah, I think the last debate I had with Nick was fucking pathetic. And then the second one I had with him over immigration stuff was pathetic. He's good at like ideologue. If you like to listen to people monologue their ideology and just do that all day, yeah, I mean, Nick is a good guy to listen to. I'm really bad at that stuff. I just like researching shit and debating people on stuff, and I'm a little bit more discreet versus kind of like narratively driven. But
review at Stanford.
I'm so curious what this is cut from or what I'm talking about. You're saying Nick was pathetic in both debates you were referencing in that clip. Am I? It doesn't sound like it. Hold on.
Which is a peer-to-peer payment system, so it's deeply in touch with the financial industry and state regulations. The real connection to intelligence is that he comes from Stanford University. That was his origin story. He founded the Stanford.
I watched you for years. After watching Nick for a year, I can say leagues above you. Yeah, I think the last debate I had with Nick was fucking pathetic. And then the second one I had with him over immigration stuff was pathetic. He's good at like ideologue. If you like to listen to people monologue their...
Oh, you're right. I understand what I'm saying. It was pathetic. It was pathetic. But if you like to listen to people just fucking drone on and on, then, or I shouldn't say drone on. For people that give you like an ideological, narratively driven story or whatever, you know, those people can be entertaining to listen to. But when I'm saying pathetic, the first, second, or debate were pathetic. I'm saying that his performance was pathetic. Okay. I understand what I meant there. They're trying to make it sound like I thought that my performance was pathetic. Okay.
I watched you for years. After watching Nick for a year, I can say leagues above you. Yeah, I think the last debate I had with Nick was fucking pathetic. And then the second one I had with him over immigration stuff was pathetic. He's good at like ideologue. If you like to listen to people monologue their ideology and just do that all day, yeah, I mean, Nick is a good guy to listen to. I'm really bad at that stuff. I just like research.
Yeah, she's saying the opposite. And then she's, I guess, combining it with this clip. I don't know if this is from the same thing or not. Wait, what's my outfit?
If you like
to this is probably from the same
people monologue their ideology and just do that all day, yeah, I mean, Nick is a good guy to listen to. I'm really bad at that stuff. I just like researching shit and debating people on stuff, and I'm a little bit more discreet versus kind of like narratively driven. But
these brief conversational snippets show a level of proximity to alt-right and far-right figures. Dare I say, a level of friendliness or comfort that seems at odds with anyone who would stand on their business as a progressive or even.
How do these? I don't understand how these people connect. I just need to say one thing, okay? And then I just need to fucking glaze so fucking hard, all right? one thing I'm very critical of people like this. Like, this person shouldn't be doing videos like this. Or they actually, maybe they could, but they need to approach it with so much less bias. Like, it's very obvious that this person had a story of me in mind, and then they went out seeking stuff to try to make whatever they have fit. And this person is probably worse than most when it comes to putting together these pieces, because so much of the clips and stuff that they're showing don't really support what they're saying. But I will say, not really to this person's credit, it is very hard to make a story out of a whole bunch of discrete clips and things. Like, to find a through line in this and to draw a picture and to decide, this is a square and I'm going to omit this and this and this. This is a very, very, very difficult thing to do. And I know, like, the meme is that, her videos are long and they've got like nice production quality, whatever. But ContraPoints, to take a video and to make a video that is 2.5 hours long, or any of the content that she does on her channel, to make these videos that are this fucking long and tie together so many different things, but to do it in a way that has a very clear and consistent ideological through line, where the videos and everything that you're playing are reinforcing the subpoints that you're making, that are reinforcing the overarching narrative and theme that you're getting at. And to do this in a structured way, this is so unbelievably difficult to do. I cannot imagine how many videos she scrapped, like in what stage. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she will like see everything through to the end. I can't imagine how much more she wanted to include, or like the storyboarding or whatever, or how many times she said to change course and everything. Like, it's just so hard to do this well. And when it's done, the thing that sucks is when it's done really well, you don't really notice it. It's just a really well put together thing. But like, I don't know what the fuck the through line is on this. Apparently I'm doing things for clout, but I also publicly acknowledge that there are some things that I'm not good at, and then I want to be ingratiated by these right-wing audiences, but I'm also like massively canceled by these audiences, and I fight with them. I know that my audience can be poisoned by these audiences or by these content creators, but I say it publicly that they're trying to poison my, like nothing really makes sense here. But it's because this person sat down with the idea that like I'm an evil, manipulative, hedonistic, whatever piece of shit bastard fuck, and I'm gonna make a video showing that. But like for whatever you think about me, I'm just not as evil as people think. Okay, I'm just not that evil. And to try to make a long form video that supports that narrative, you're gonna have to torture your data points pretty hardcore to do it. And I think that's basically what's happening.
Even hella liberal. Back to his private combos, I found this one illuminating, where during a casual conversation with Fuentes, he talks about giving known white supremacist and racist Lauren Southern tips on getting more views on her videos.
Like, I've argued with fucking Lauren about her videos, where she's like, oh, all of my stuff is deprioritized, I don't think I'm getting views. Like, no, it's not. You just don't fucking upload enough. Make more fucking videos. And she did make a couple, and some of them actually popped up on the algorithm. She did one responding to Matt Walsh, and she got like 500,000 views. And it's like, why do you think that the algorithm's not fucking? You're fucking yourself. Because that...
Two things. This was part of a multi-video visit Nick did, chilling with Destiny and his ex-wife and chatting it up. The second...
Well, she was my current wife. But I've always given props, and I will always give props to right-wingers who actually do work on the ground. I'll do that. For Lauren, it was her documentaries. For Nick, it was his AFPAC stuff. I think that leftists have unbelievably failed there. I say fail, but now with a more mature opinion, I realize it's intentional. They just don't care about political power, so they never invest anything. That's why Hasan has those Discord logs of him crying that he couldn't even get a picture of his fans out canvassing or whatever, or phone banking for Mamdani or whatever bullshit. Oh yeah, I gave props to Charlie Kirk, before and after his death. Even Charlie Kirk was a very politically astute person. Yeah, for Lauren, for every right-wing person, we just saw, was it Ian Miles Chong? No, it was the other weird guy, Gromp or whatever. Both these people are in the same spot in my mind or whatever. These people will constantly complain about the algorithm is deprioritizing me and we're being selectively edited from Google and all these things are going after it. It's like, no, they're not. Upload more shit. You're a liar. I'm sorry, you're not a liar, but you're so paranoid or stupid. Like, it's just because you're not doing the right things or whatever. Yeah.
Is that there's a lot of speculation as to whether Destiny slept with Lauren Southern. Well, it was speculation, and it's been confirmed by leaked DMs in a video presented by President Sunday. Oh, and his ex-wife Melina also confirmed this.
I don't really know what people are speculating. Like, I think people can just put the puzzle pieces together, like, really easily, if they just look at, okay, these things happened. I even mentioned, and then people asked about it, and he said that I got jealous because they streamed so much. That's not really what happened. I feel like it's pretty clear to who is not being honest here of what actually happened. There's so many things.
What the Mel?
And so many people that have said what happened. And if he wants to deny that, fine. But I feel like, not everyone is perfect, and a lot of these people are pretty intense.
Okay.
So maybe it's hard to trust, but you can also see patterns in how people behave and stuff. She did not lie. She did not lie. And I think it's really clear she didn't lie. That's what I'm saying, because
This is one aspect of Destiny's personality I'm saving a bit for later because there's still a lot to get through, but Destiny's rampant horn doggery, or as he would put it, being too much of a gooner, as a quote, has led him, understandably, into some hot water. If you've heard about his various controversies, chances are they have to do with things like exchanging sexts with underage fans, his fantasies about age play, his sharing of unapproved revenge porn and nudes with random friends, recording sex with partners without their permission, and more, all of which we will get to. But the Lauren Southern bit is important to this current topic.
Oh, I cannot wait. It will be the final. Did I say my last manifesto was the final manifesto? This will be the final manifesto. This is going to be a doozy. It's going to be a big one.
Because at the time they were engaging in acts, Southern was well known as an alt-right figure. She had cavorted with anti-Semite and eugenicist Sol Invictus, published anti-Islam manuscripts and extensive anti-feminist drivel, did a speaking tour with white identity lover Stephen Molyneux, defended Richard Spencer, and most famously harassed refugees with a European white identity group. It's not it shouldn't have been surprised that Lauren Southern was racist to anybody. In fact, it was kind of her defining trait for a long time. And look, I get it, you can't always judge someone by one or two friends, but how about the repeated themes of their life's work and the publicity stunts they constantly engage in? So,
well, what is the argument here that I absorbed through fucking osmosis, like Lauren's racism? Like, it's always such a weird, people did the same thing with fucking Empath Chan or whatever. Like, you're never, and again, there's a reason why, despite how many stupid fucking personal DMs of mine that have leaked, personal whatever things that have leaked, nothing has ever come out where I'm talking to a person or it's been revealed as like, oh yeah, remember when Destiny was like, oh, Lauren, Nazi mommy, I do hate Indians. I actually am racist. Thank you so much for showing me the way. Like, none of this stuff has ever existed. Like, if you want to be critical of me for my choice of partners or whatever, knock yourself out. But like, the argument that this was somehow, I don't even know what the argument is. Like, pattern of content. Like, I've been pretty consistent on most of my beliefs, especially in terms of like left-leaning, like social stuff, for a long time. I don't think even at the height of any top secret illicit rendezvous or whatever that I'm having with Lauren, it's not like, oh, remember in 2020, whenever the fuck year that was, remember when Destiny started getting radically anti-Islamic? Remember when Destiny started to become radically anti-immigration? Like, none of this was ever happening. So I don't even know what the accusation is. Or I guess maybe if you have friends or if you have romantic relations with people personally that are substantially politically different than you, then that's a bad thing. Like, I don't know.
But how about the repeated themes of their life's work and the publicity stunts they constantly engage in?
Like, what are the repeated themes of my life's work or publicity stunts that lead you to think that I'm right-wing? You can say I'm a gooner, sure, but like right-wing?
So at some point you gotta ask, if Destiny's willing to fuck a Nazi, white identitarian, while still calling her out, then what's his line? What?
First of all, if you saw any of those DMs that leaked, if you thought that was just a sexual relationship, you have severe fucking autism, which this person probably does. But number two, wouldn't that just be my consistency? Just because I like a certain person or have some kind of relationship with a certain person doesn't mean I'm changing my political beliefs to adopt that person's political beliefs. I don't understand. What am I supposed to do? Or I guess you're supposed to not be friends with or have any kind of relationships with those types of people, I guess.
Nazi, white identitarian, while still calling her out, then what's his line? Who won't he platform or collab with or engage with?
What does that have to do with platforming or collabing? I caught you last night. Caught me what? I was just collabing with them.
Now, mind you, these are not just conversations or debates. This is intimacy, friendship.
What is that? That's not my stream content, though. What? We're not having on-stream fucking me and Lauren go to the fucking relationship therapist counselor. What?
Platform or collab with or engage with. Now, mind you, these are not just conversations or debates. This is intimacy, friendship, with people he's willing to publicly call Nazis. Like, here's Nick Fuentes talking.
What do you mean? What am I supposed to do? Yeah, I think some people have dog shit beliefs. Even back then. Even today, I'm sure Lauren still has some dog shit beliefs that I would probably call out. I don't see her post online as much. I think Empath Chan has a fuck ton of horrible, crazy, disgusting things that she's done publicly, and in terms of what she says on Twitter. I have no problem calling people. Is it actually, hold on, I'm sorry. Is it like inconceivable that you could have friends that you have like substantial disagreements with on things? Like, is that really that hard to imagine? Like, there are definitely people that I know interpersonally that I have severe disagreements with. Look at how fucking triggered I'm getting from fucking Dan's obsession with fucking Hasan lately and his inability to call out literally anybody on the right on Twitch. Yeah, like, this is shit that drives me crazy. But it's not like, oh, I hate Dan now.
Talking about being in Destiny's Discord and talking about D&D.
I don't have the time.
You were playing Dungeons and Dragons when I pulled up to your stream. You have plenty of goddamn time to drink potions with more right to go. Let's go. Where's your potion? Watching that documentary.
If you your fans don't even like that content. They tell me in the group chat they think it's boring when you play D&D.
Now, for a brief out on.
Wait, what? What was the point of this? Hold on.
Or collab with or engage with. Now, mind you, these are not just conversations or debates. This is intimacy, friendship, with people he's willing to publicly call Nazis. Like, here's Nick Fuentes talking about being in Destiny's Discord and talking about D&D.
I don't have the time. I don't have the time.
You were playing Dungeons and Dragons when I pulled up to your stream. You have plenty of goddamn time to check out potions with 4 white dudes. Oh, let's go. Where's your potion?
Does he think I was playing D&D with Fuentes? Dude, did I ever play I don't think I ever played D&D with Fuentes, did I? I feel like I would remember this. No. Is that what he... Is that what they... that's not what Sneako's saying.
Watching that documentary.
If you your fans don't even like that content. They tell me in the group chat they think it's boring when you play D&D.
Now, for a brief guide on who Destiny might consider morally equivalent for whatever...
I don't even know what it was her interpretation that that Sneako thought that I was playing D&D with Nick Fuentes? She was saying that Nick was in the DGG Discord. I didn't even play D&D in the DGG Discord. This is retarded. Okay.
Reason. Check out this 2025 Fresh and Fit clip where he says his enemies are the enemies of liberalism, and goes on to accuse Vosh and Hasan of being as bad as Sam Hyde and Nick Fuentes, and says fighting them is...
Fuck! Actually, oh my god! I don't even have to be secret about this. Because fucking Lauren fucking wrote in her fucking book, one of the last times I visited her in fucking New York City, where I did have some huge fucking problems with the shit that she believed in and the shit that her friends believed in. We had a huge fucking fight over it. Yeah, it's not like privately I'm like, oh, my Nazi queen, I fucking racial superiority and blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, what do you mean? I feel like I'm pretty consistent on the things that I believe publicly and the things that I say privately to people. Like, there's like a consistent through line. Oh, thank God she has that chapter in her book.
Equally important, and goes on to accuse Vosh and Hasan of being as bad as Sam Hyde and Nick Fuentes, and says fighting them is equally important.
Destiny picking more fights with other lefties instead of watching the new Sam Nick show and attacking righties. My enemies are the enemies of liberalism. True. Lefties, so people like Vosh and Hasan, are 100% aligned with people like Sam Hyde or Nick Fuentes in terms of wanting to destroy the current liberal order. They both just envision something different coming afterwards. So I think attacking either group of those people is totally fair game. True. Is equally important.
Sam Hyde is a rapist and a pedophile Nazi.
Why? I don't know about the rape shit. The pedophile shit, I don't know. I saw those 4chan posts a long time ago. I don't know how true they are. But like, why not? Like, there are so many things to attack Sam Hyde over before going to the pedo rapist shit. But one of the things, and I blame Ethan for this shit, especially because the HGH community loves to play this. They started to finally make posts on their subreddit calling this out. The pedo jacketing of every single person you don't like is so crazy. It's so insane today that every single person is a fucking pedophile. Holy shit.
By the way. And speaking of Nazis, let's get back to Nick Fuentes. Now, while Nick and Destiny used to be more frequent collaborators, Destiny has since stopped seemingly returning Nick's calls, or probably more so that Nick has wormed his way into the mainstream enough he doesn't need Destiny for clout anymore. And I'm sure a slew of heated and personal debates between the two didn't help matters at all.
I'm not gonna say. Wait, but I thought we were collaborating and loved each other so much. Also, I did tell this whole back and forth for what happened on this. That Nick got into the Kanye crowd, that he started to blackball me from shows, especially I think Sosnick was doing a show. I told him that if he starts blackballing me now, that after the Kanye shit falls apart in a few months, I'm going to not do shows with him, and then he asked to do shows afterwards, and I said I didn't want to because he fucking blackballed me. Like, this whole thing is public. I've talked through this like 50 billion times. You don't have to guess.
You didn't take notes to watch a movie?
Yes, that's how conspiracy theories work, because there's going to be 7,000 things that I've never fucking heard in my entire life. That's how these things always work.
Also, I like how she keeps playing clips from this fucking video saying of me talking about why I don't want to do this. I did do this. I did spend a whole fucking week watching the new Pearl Harbor, and I did go through a debunking of every single stupid fucking point. I've never been a bigger believer in the official 9/11 story than after the week of research that I did on that fucking video. And you know what? After the week, Fuentes didn't even want to fucking talk about it because he knew I was right on all of it. Yeah, so is that, what are we bringing up here?
Clout anymore. And I'm sure a slew of heated and personal debates between the two didn't help matters at all.
I'm not going to sit here.
You didn't take notes to watch a movie?
Yes, that's how conspiracy theories work, because there's going to be 7,000 things that I've never fucking heard in my entire life. That's how these things always work.
It's a movie. Let's just watch it.
Take this. Wait, Destiny, I just can't believe that this dude really said, well, you want to debate me on
Sneako, give me a time and a date.
I think that's a waste of time.
Give me a time and a date.
I won't debate you on 9/11.
This last video is...
But I did go through that entire fucking dog slop fucking video. The whole fucking thing. And we didn't have that debate on 9/11 because I was able to prove why every single point. I mean, like, other people have done the work. Popular Mechanics was probably one of the most well-known debunkers of like loose change, which a lot of that got rolled into this new Pearl Harbor video or whatever. But I did do that.
Interesting, because right after yelling at each other, they schedule a debate on stream, like I talked about earlier, because Destiny needs time to research the JFK assassination, but he's already agreed to debate Nick.
Was it JFK? I thought this was the 9/11 video.
About it.
If you want to do an organized conversation on the JFK assassination, we can do that. Would you like to set one of those up? We can schedule it right now if you want to.
Absolutely.
Okay, hold on. Wait, give me a time and a date.
Why the JFK thing? Was this after? Oh, wait. No, wait, I don't understand if this was him. Because I think after I did the 9/11 thing, and he saw that I did all the research on the 9/11 thing, he decided that he didn't want to debate the 9/11 thing. And then I think after that, I think I'm harassing him and I'm asking what he wants to debate. And then we might have agreed to the JFK thing. Oh, it was the JFK thing because I watched an 9/11 video. But I think after this, I think we had our falling out, so we never actually got to do this debate.
Let's do September.
This is another interesting moment because, as we'll see more in the future, it shows how Destiny seemingly goes into any debate that will have him with a predetermined POV, not out of like sincere belief or knowledge, but just because it gives him a chance to argue.
I mean, I'm a believer of the JFK assassination story. Like, this criticism would only be true if I would have gone into that researching the topic and wouldn't have changed my mind regardless of the evidence of it. Like, it could have been the fact that I did a bunch of research on the JFK assassination and then I don't believe in the official story. No, like that could happen. I'm pretty sure there are topics that I've gone into researching in the past where after doing some research, I'm like, fuck, I don't know if I... It's harder for that as the lab leak thing was a huge thing recently. Although I don't know if there's been anything that autistic. Yeah, this is the Hasan talking point. That I'm like a debate mercenary who just takes on debate points to just debate people to debate things, I guess.
A predetermined POV, not out of like sincere belief or knowledge, but just because it gives him a chance to argue. And you might say, well, again, just because he doesn't agree with someone doesn't mean he can't have a polite conversation. Let's address that point. You don't need to agree with everything someone says to associate with them. That's true. We all have that one conservative coworker we're polite to and maybe even friendly with. It's not feasible to go through life being a dick to everyone who disagrees with you at every turn. Except Destiny's platforming goes so beyond simply debating people and seems to extend into a willingness to be chummy with anyone he perceives to help with some good old metric growth. We've already discussed Lauren Southern, but Nick Fuentes is, of course, the most notable example. If you watch the early debates and interactions between Destiny and Nick, you might think of them as having something of a principled rivalry.
That what is white is a somewhat arbitrary concept. Now we go forward to today. You're talking to me. I'm half what?
2017. Okay.
Yeah. I'm half European, half Cuban, and people consider me white. Nick Fuentes is a white nationalist. His last name is Fuentes, and he is 25% Hispanic. So it seems like the whole concept of white is just kind of ridiculous.
The problem is that over time it would be shown that Steven could easily be called a friend of Nick. I'm not touching the probably fake, alleged, leaked sex tape between them because
I'm not gonna touch it. This is incredibly fucking cringe. I don't want to do this. That fake sex tape was actually my dick getting sucked by this person in a Stephen Bunnell mask. I didn't want to say anything, and it is really cringe, and I feel bad revealing that now, but they had a Stephen Bunnell rubber mask, and then it was my dick being sucked by this person in that video. I'm sorry. I don't want to say that, but, since they didn't want to touch it, I don't really want to touch it, but that's, I'll just say it. Okay, my bad.
Come on. There's plenty to critique here without reaching so far. It doesn't really matter also if Destiny and Nick hooked up or not, because Destiny...
Also, by the way, I like how it's funny and epic and based because I'm a guy, to reference like my leaked revenge porn material that was leaked by a fucking pedophile child, whatever the fuck crazy thing this guy, the George dude, whatever in the UK was. I like how that's like funny and epic and based for this person. Good one. Absolutely based and epic. Nice.
Has simply courted the controversy to, you guessed it, get more attention.
Obviously, I'm not going to do a whole deep intro or whatever on all this. I will say that I think a friend of mine's account from that I talked to like 3 or 4 years ago ended up getting compromised, and
the rose.
Sometimes you just gotta roll with the memes. It is what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? Okay. Sometimes it happens.
Is he memeing? Is he serious? It doesn't matter. It gets people talking about him, and he knows that.
It was... Everybody was talking about the fact that somebody leaked like almost 30 explicit videos plus a whole bunch of logs on Kiwi Farms. Fucking Kiwi Farms server literally went down because of how many people were accessing explicit revenge porn leaked videos of me. Obviously, I have to say something. There's not much I'm going to say because I don't really feel like this is especially not the style of content that I'm doing anymore because it's a year after I basically just converted entirely to political content. Am I memeing? What the fuck do you want me to say? What the fuck am I even supposed to say to this?
Is he memeing? Is he serious? It doesn't matter. It gets people talking about him, and he knows that.
True. That's what I really wanted. Yes.
They talk on Discord. Again, not an altogether weird thing to have other content creators on Discord, but the way they talk about their back and forth, at least in this clip from 2022, sure seems...
Wait, does she even know what she's referring to there? I don't even know.
It's like there were other friendly conversations happening that weren't just scheduling debates.
What was the accusation that I made?
You said that, well, what you texted me on Discord is, it's your community, matey, and basically saying that I'm culpable.
Well, hold on. Did I say that?
You literally said, it's your. I said, you're blaming me for something.
Oh, so this was when I was with Mr. Girl was in the orbit still, and we were doing content. Mr. Girl got into a fight with what's the name of the fat white nationalist dude? They're all fat. Who am I thinking of? Lav used to be friends with him. Big Tech. And I think big tech and them decided that they didn't like Mr. Girl for whatever reason. And then from Cozy or from the America First board, I forget what it was even, where this board was, they started like spam reporting big girl, Mr. Girl shit. And then I told Nick, I was like, hey, like I'm not going to debate anybody on that platform. I'm not going to talk to anybody or whatever. If you guys are spam reporting people's shit and taking it down, like that's it. And then Nick was like, oh, well, I can't control them or whatever. I'm like, bro, it's on Cozy. It's your shit. I know you can control these people.
Thanks.
I say that?
You literally said.
That's what this is in reference to.
I said, you're blaming me for something someone else said. You said, it's your community, Beatty.
Yep.
That's what you said.
Yes. So what am I saying there? Am I saying that like this is one? Let's be a little sophisticated and understand it. Am I saying that like you called for him to be reported, or that you led for his mass banning? Because you say that a few times in this video, making it sound like I'm saying that you specifically called for this. I've never levied that accusation though.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're saying that.
That's kind of the implication I've gotten from watching. I can go back and watch clips, but it kind of feels like in the beginning of this video that you're saying that I've accused you of that several times. Because I have to pause and correct. I've never accused Nick directly of doing it. Okay.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I don't.
Okay, that's good. I don't believe that's what you said in this video, but okay.
No,
he knows this is a white supremacist. He knows this is someone who does tangible harm in his ideology. And when the debate lights are up, he attacks. So then ask yourself, if you're a fan of Destiny, would you say this about somebody?
That's black people, even when they disagree with me. Not even when they're useful pawns for my liberal agenda.
Nick, you literally think black people are genetically inferior. You think that black people are genetically, intellectually inferior.
End up with more extremist figures like Nick Fuentes or maybe Lawrence Southern or something like that, and then eventually go down that extremist road.
And then go and hang out with someone like this? In the process of hanging out with Nick in a more casual setting, Destiny seems to be
This stream broke so many people's brains. Oh my God.
Genuinely trying to reach or connect with him and engage with his ideas about conspiracies, as though there's potential for good faith. He's trying to reach them where they're at, a strategy which I'm sure he and his defenders would assert is better for deconstructing people's worldview, getting them to agree to a more rational premise in an effort to push them down a path of de-radicalizing and educating themselves further.
I mean, you say that, but like I said, I'm pretty sure right now, that Minnesota Tribune article was Vance talking about how to throw people like me in jail. Pretty sure I'm demonetized on YouTube because of like a collective hit job from Elon shit fuck Musk, a few people in Congress, and fucking Jesse Waters on Fox News playing a clip of mine. I'm pretty like what this idea, like I'm persona non grata on the right for no, it's not even like I don't know. I'm curious what was that actually 2025? No, this is like 2022. They fucked the dates up because this video is shittily researched. I'm curious what this person's theory of mind would be for me for why did you go so nuclear on conservatives after the Trump assassination thing? Now, if you just listen to the words that I say, I think it's pretty clear. I think I say that I've played nice with conservatives for a long time, but even when I'm playing nice and giving a little bit of ground, they're giving nothing. It feels like playing nice with them while they're giving nothing, and their side is getting even more radical over and over and over again. At some point, you have to say, enough is enough. This is stupid. I would rather just energize my base now or be a stronger voice on the left, because trying to play nice with you guys isn't getting us anywhere, and your side is getting so fucking crazy. You're not willing to give any ground to this company. Like, I've said all this stuff, and by the way, believe it or not, all of my public behavior and all of my public everything tracks exactly with all the shit that I say about this. They would just accuse you of farming any engagement. Yeah, but that's such a low IQ position. Like, couldn't I be farming engagement? Couldn't I be farming more engagement with the right wing by doing more Daily Wire interviews, right? If I'm on back-to-back-to-back interviews with Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, and Candace Owens, why would I burn those bridges, right? It's so stupid.
The problem is that Nick doesn't and has never wanted that. He's a shameless, conniving, opportunist rat fucker, and always has been. Much of his irony-poisoned audience has been conditioned to behave the same way. Nick and Steven actually probably get along so well because they operate very similar.
Oh my God. Also, if you can't differentiate the political people or the content creators or figureheads from the audience, you're fucking retarded. I don't know why you even would bother trying to pretend to do any kind of analysis. The figureheads of movements, not every MAGA person, very few people possess the same theory of mind as Donald Trump. Like the people on top at Fox News who are lying about things and deliberately lying about things, that's a special type of evil that a frontline MAGA person isn't even cognizant of. They're not... People like my mom are not out here knowingly lying about shit, or the average MAGA person is not knowingly lying about shit. The average J6 person probably thought the election was stolen. Donald Trump knew that it wasn't. All the people on him knew that it was bullshit, right? There's a huge difference there. And to pretend that just because Nick is never going to come to my perspective, which he won't, by the way, even if I debate Nick in the future, I don't think I'm ever going to change his mind. Of course not. He's got a whole political ideology or movement behind him, and he's invested and incentivized to be the leader of that political movement. But that doesn't mean you don't try to fight for their followers, right?
Audience has been conditioned to behave the same way. Nick and Steven actually probably get along so well because they operate very similarly. They were formed in the same molten internet sludge, trolling transgressive forums and using shock tactics.
Excuse me? No, we weren't. Fuentes is like 10 years younger than me, I think. I'm 37. This guy, my background is in pro gaming. That's where all my toxic, crazy shit behavior comes. We do not have the same background. This person must be, I was being generous earlier when I said their age, but like, I feel like this person must be maybe Nick's age. Is she like 27? Is there like an age for this person anywhere? Is that doxing? I don't give a fuck.
To get their
because I don't know how you can think that I guess in a very shallow way, I guess I can see how you might think that. But.
Platforms. One fun argument from an earlier debate stream we've looked at involved an anecdote Stephen called Nick out on, where Nick tried to chicken shit dance his way around the real reason he was kicked out of a young Republican group. He said some racist shit, but thought he was in more trustworthy company.
So it's many things over the course of 5 years.
Was that really all you said?
Well,
was that really the only thing you said?
Nick got super triggered about this debate, by the way.
You're bro, you're bullshitting, bro. Just tell us, what did you say? I feel like I remember there being a leaked phone call and some other stuff that came out too that got you kicked out of school too, no? Was that?
Yeah, that is
something about like if a white girl dates a black person, it's the same as like fucking a dog, something like that, maybe? Am I remembering this? Am I remembering this correctly? Sure, okay, so I just want to be clear, like, notice how slippery he is between how he defines positions. Earlier, we were talking about how like, you can't, like, his point earlier was that black people are black.
I just don't understand. I feel like this is like my response video to this person is contained in this video. Like, here I am very clearly calling out Nick's tactics to a bunch of people, literally in front of Nick himself on my stream. Like, what the fuck?
People are brown, white people are white. Looking like the difference between black and brown people is really dumb. But now when we're talking about Africa, all of a sudden that place where everybody's just black, well, now it's the most ethnically diverse nation on earth. How the fuck do we go from one day? And then secondly, earlier he's talking about like really diverse places, cause crime. The more diversity, the more crime. But what do you hear white nationalists always say over and over again? What's the number one killer of black men? Other black people. It's not like we've got like race wars going on in the United States where a lot of ethnic diversity exists. It's usually people that are victimizing themselves.
True.
It's not black
true.
people running out killing white people running out killing white people. It's just crime within.
Yeah, this young Gideon guy or whatever. No, the young Don, not Gideon. This young Don guy, I'm pretty sure it was like a left winger now. I don't know if he's a left winger now, but I know I got him on the J6 stuff, and I think he started other political things after these conversations too. So
communities.
Okay. No. Now, we will talk about Destiny thinking he's safe to say shit like slurs when he's in trusted company later, but more.
Oh my god. Oh, how is it so fucking one-dimensional? And the thing is, it's not even one-dimensional because everybody knows the difference. Everybody knows the difference between these things, between calling somebody a slur versus having edgy or even some kind of racial humor. Everybody knows the difference between this, and to pretend otherwise is so fucking stupid.
More importantly than that, the primary similarity between Nick and Destiny is that they will each take any opportunity they can for more attention or notoriety. The disconnect is that while Nick is sincere in his beliefs, at least in terms of offending people and sowing chaos, Destiny seemingly can't help but see the debates, positions, and beliefs as these detached, abstract game pieces. Nick has shown this again and again and again. He's navigated around the periphery of conservative politics for over a decade, quietly running his little Nazi stream like a Zoomer George Lincoln Rockwell, complete with a shitty little mustache. Just like Steven, he spends plenty of time going on random misogynistic and otherwise shit-headed podcasts that appeal to a wider and wider demographic, using his guise as a regular guy to lull people who don't know any better into thinking, hey, he's really not that bad. So when you...
Yeah, but we're pushing two complete and total different ideologies. What...
Wonder, how does Nick Fuentes, a actual white supremacist, violent, woman-hating, and very likely gay Nazi, have so many fans? Why is he everywhere? It's because every time someone has debated him or had him on their podcast, they've platformed him and helped in his overall goal to weasel his way to a larger viewer base.
I'm sorry, but again, if this is your view on things, quit. Get the fuck out. You are so fucking hopeless. If you think that just exposing somebody to some other idea is going to radically, completely suck them off of that ideology, whatever that ideology is, I want to join it. I want to be part of that one because that's clearly the winning ideology. If Nazism or Mexican-Nazism, whatever the fuck Fuentes pushes, if that ideology is so pervasive, so powerful that it could be a multicultural, multi-ethnic, pulls in everybody the microsecond they hear it, that probably sounds like the best ideology there is. I want to be part of that one, okay? Like, what? How stupid that to think that people were listening to me and like, oh, that Fuentes guy. Fuck, if anything, I fucking shuffle more people over to fucking Shitman Gold or Vosh or Hasan for sure than fucking Nick Fuentes.
He's not a genuine actor, and anyone who's observed him for any amount of time could probably tell you that.
Why does she keep saying this? Like she's saying something insightful. Fuentes is obviously always going to be pushing his political ideology. Fuentes' ideas are not going to change in response to a debate with me. I know this. Why do you pretend like you're revealing something here? Obviously.
Destiny could probably tell you that. I would just speculate that he probably doesn't care because every time he's had somebody so controversial on, it did numbers, and that's what matters to him. So in the end, if someone is authentic about their beliefs, doesn't seem to enter into Steven's calculus. At least it didn't back then.
It literally doesn't. I think I've said on stream it literally doesn't because people ask me this all the time. Oh, do you think that they're genuine or not genuine with beliefs? I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me if they're genuine or not. The reality is when they say them, people listen to those beliefs and they take them genuinely. It doesn't matter if Sean Hannity at the end of the day believes what he's saying or not. What matters is the people that listen to Sean Hannity speak genuinely start to believe the things he says. Now, for an individual moral analysis, you could argue that if they know they're lying, it's even worse. But I mean, that's not really relevant when it comes to arguing with a person.
In the 2024 video where Turkey Tom interviewed and spent a day with Destiny, he directly calls out Destiny for platforming Nick Fuentes.
Him?
Anybody that goes into like the kid jokes or the wife jokes, I never associate with again.
That's the lie.
What?
Well, I feel like it's like you hang out with a lot of people who you maybe would consider kind of, I don't know. I mean, okay.
That's usually my red line. That's why I cut off Sneeko and Zerka completely forever.
Here's one criticism I have.
The kid jokes or the wife joke? Oh, for people that start personally going in on my kid or my wife. Yeah, for sure. But
real criticism.
Yeah, criticize me, baby.
Fuente.
Whether or not he wasn't out here wouldn't have changed him coming on my platform. I think for a while America First was trying to get away from the crazy ultra like.
How? None of this is contrary to what I just said, though. Typically the line for me usually is if you start getting like very nasty personal to me, then fuck you. Then I'm not going to associate with you. I don't think. I'm sure Fuentes has done this to me at some point. He must have, just by virtue of his platform. I would imagine. I imagine he has. But like generally when people start to cross this line, I just don't associate with them anymore, right? Like, but that has nothing to do with their particular beliefs. It just has to do with how cordial they are towards me as an individual to do the debates with them.
Oculus, at least it didn't back then. In the 2024 video where Turkey Tom interviewed and spent a day with Destiny, he directly calls out Destiny for platforming Nick Fuentes.
Him?
Anybody that goes into like the kid jokes or the wife jokes, I never associate with again.
That's the lie.
What?
Well, I feel like it's like you hang out with a lot of people who you maybe would consider kind of, I don't know. I mean, okay.
That's usually my red line. That's why I cut off Sneeko and Zerka completely forever.
Here's one criticism I have. Real criticism.
Yeah, criticize me, baby.
Fuente.
Whether or not he wasn't out here wouldn't have changed him coming on my platform. I think for a while America First was trying to get away from the crazy ultra like Jewish Nazi shit. Maybe there's still like memes and jokes, but I do think they were, especially with like AFPAC and everything, I think they were trying to move towards like a little bit more mainstream, like probably still like a little bit of the Nazi jokes and shit, but less than they were before.
To which Destiny responds that he saw, at the time, America First as trying to move away from the anti-Semitic and radical image and become more respectable and mainstream. He directly acknowledges and talks.
I don't know why she's tangling these two completely separate things together of like, what will I have a debate with a person? Like, what is the behavior that I'll tolerate, right? You can have some crazy radical beliefs and I'll probably debate you depending on the subject matter where we're debating or whatever. But once you start getting into the weird personal shit, I probably just won't ever want to share a platform with you or do anything with you. That's not tied to my belief or my feeling that prior to Kanye West, I still feel this way, that I'm not trying to say they were abandoning all anti-Semitism. I know that Mr. Girl and some retards in my audience are like, oh, you said that they love Jews now. I just think that they were trying to minimize that or get that to be a lesser part of their overall thing, and they were focusing more on the populist messaging than just the relentless Jew obsession, which I think they were way more into earlier on.
It's about how he thought a lot of it was just memes, as though that makes the sentiments of what's being said any less harmful. And then when asked why he cut Nick off, Destiny chalks it up to the Groypers basically being annoying.
Because Fuentes was on a bit of an upshoot before the Kanye shit. AFPAC was really successful. They got, what, like 2 Congress people?
Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor.
Yeah, that's a really big deal. That's more than anything lefty has ever done for their shit on YouTube. When I'm criticizing his point of view, what I tell people is you just criticize the point of view. Because the problem is that when you run into somebody, especially somebody who's like a little bit more politically adept, like Fuentes or America First, oh, you're a Nazi. They're gonna start bringing up like a million things that like actual Nazis believe. And they're gonna say, well, we break from Nazis here, and then you're just gonna look like an idiot. The current reason I listen to Blacklist is because he does the crazy aggressive deplatforming shit. Like the Groyper people will spam report people if they don't like you.
So
that's just them being annoying? Are people who are spam reporting your platforms? This is our job, motherfucker. What do you mean? You don't think that maintaining your income to have a life that's just people being annoying? Okay, good. That's a good faith interpretation of what I'm saying. It's not even an interpretation. I'm just saying it. Okay, cool.
So his bottom line. That's when he decided
his bottom line, his job. Yeah, my job matters to me, motherfucker. Yes.
To call it quits with platforming a Nazi. This is just one person, Destiny.
What, like, so this person says that they'll debate people until they try to get rid of all of their income? Yes. Yeah.
He repeatedly collaborated with. Here's him chumming out with people like Sneeko, Aiden Ross, Myron Gaines, and plenty of other assholes. Even now, because of his audience and pedantic approach to life, people might still be willing to lend him that goodwill and say, well, of course, he wants to get eyes on him. It's his job. Or maybe even he's tearing down those ideas. He's going into these spaces to expose them for being bad actors. Except you can do all of that without engaging, let alone platforming these people personally. And also...
Yeah, but the problem is that hasn't worked historically. You can tell because Donald Trump won a second fucking term, which is crazy. But also because you guys lose the ability to even have a conversation about other people's beliefs. As evidenced by the hour and 14 minutes of slop. Maybe, dude, I should make a hit piece video on me. These people suck. Nobody can have an actual criticism of me, an actual measured criticism of me for fucking anything. It's just been an hour and 15 minutes. First of all, playing like some of my greatest hits. Thank you. Okay, I'm fucking dominating. I sound a lot better in some of these old arguments than I remember. Okay, it's just the same, retreading the same boring ground over and over and over again because you're incapable of actually engaging with somebody who has a different belief system than your own. And then the people that you do engage with, you don't engage with the actual person. You engage with the most flimsily constructed straw man possible of that person. You don't even have the ability to respond to what they're saying. It's crazy.
He doesn't do that. After watching so many of these streams and debates, I have come to 2 conclusions. The first is that Aiden Ross might actually have no brain, just a hollow cavity with some kind of jello inside. I'll give it up in this stream where Steven, through basically no effort, convinces Aiden of an existence of Mein Kampf 2 featuring OnlyFans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Hitler said motivational things too, but I mean, I don't know what the point of that is. Like, the overall takeaway from Andrew Tate is that he's a scam artist, a sex trafficker, and a guy that built his entire life on, now that he's fucking Muslim, he's built his whole life on haram shit, like gambling and selling sex and scamming men. It's interesting because I think there's a quote from Hitler saying OnlyFans is the second Holocaust, and he said that before he even did the first one, so I'm sure you agree with that at least, right?
Wait, Hitler said OnlyFans is the Holocaust?
The second Holocaust.
How did Hitler know?
By the way, listen, Aiden Ross is kind of retarded, but I don't even know if you guys, you know that Aiden Ross is memeing here, right? Like, he doesn't actually believe this, right?
Hitler know.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, huh? Just because Hitler might have said a couple good things doesn't mean that Hitler's a good guy, right? Same thing with Aiden, or not Aiden, same thing with Andrew Tate. I'm sure that Andrew Tate has said some good things. He has a list who says good things, but overall he's like a scam artist. I don't think he's a good guy.
Okay, show me where he said something about Hitler said OnlyFans is going to be the second Holocaust. Please show me where he said that.
It was in the second version of Mein Kampf, but I think that ISIS burned that down when they invaded Germany last.
What the fuck? There's a second Mein Kampf?
Yeah, but he'd written it. There was only one version because he'd written it when he was in that fucking bunker before he killed himself.
Yeah, damn.
No notes.
Where does this come from?
Flawless victory. But the other conclusion I come to, despite his fervent arguing against these ideas and wanting to attack people's ideas, not them personally, the reason Steven doesn't distance himself strongly is partially because he's grown his platform and business several times over with these tactics, but also because he doesn't seem to take people like this seriously in their ideology or threats. He seems to think that everyone else is like him. They turn on their worldview when the cameras are rolling, and off camera, they're just totally chill, laid back people. He seems to think that just because he will make edgy jokes about people being killed, when someone else says it, they're also just joking.
That's literally the exact opposite of everything I've ever said in my entire life. Okay.
Cannot think of any other reason why he'd still be saying shit like this in 2025, despite ostensibly cutting ties with Nick Fuentes.
You want to talk about racism? Let's talk about racism.
You've admitted you're a racist, correct?
Yes, 100%. Okay, own it.
Okay, that's fine. You're perfectly entitled in a free democratic society to stare down the barrel of this camera and tell me you're racist. People can judge you accordingly. Many people who have assumed that you're racist will now have heard it from your own lips.
I'm getting so tired of doing optics evaluations or rhetoric evaluations because I'd rather just debate on the facts, and you guys have gotten so obsessed with it. It's boring to talk about. But Nick set himself up with a defensible out at the beginning of this interview by saying, when I'm on stream, when I'm making jokes, like I'm being hyperbolic, I'm not, we're telling jokes here. It's not like 100% serious stuff. Like obviously it's small stream, small amount of people. These are not the messages that I would say to the entire world. So he set himself up with a good out here, but now he is biting the bullet on every single thing he said on his stream. Retarded. Like the response.
I'm going over how I'm just giving a take on like Nick set himself up with a response that he could have given. He set that line of defense up at the beginning of the interview, and then he abandoned it because Pierce triggered the fuck out of him. But I'm not saying that I think he believed that thing. Like, Nick is probably a racist, probably anti-Semitic. I don't have a personal relationship with him recently, but like I'm sure he harbors a lot of bigoted beliefs. Is her takeaway from this, as I'm talking through Nick's rhetorical strategy for this debate, is her takeaway that I think that for Nick, all of it is just jokes and memes?
But now he is biting the bullet on every single thing he said on his stream. Like the response when Pierce says this is like, well, no, I'm being hyperbolic, but like what I'm trying to explain to you is like, imagine the fear of an average white person when there are people getting set on fire on buses. Was that a black guy that did it? I don't remember. Or if you're that poor white Ukrainian woman that got stabbed to death by a black guy, if she would have avoided black men on the bus, if she would have gotten off as soon as that crazy black dude entered, she might still be alive today. Like these are like your more kind of like, I think like publicly rhetorically favorable outs. I feel like he set himself up for these
publicly rhetorically favorable outs
at the beginning of this interview, but then he's in like full combat mode now.
True.
I don't know why he switched.
In this clip, Nick goes over how he's essentially using his recent interview with Piers Morgan.
What does she think? 4 months? 4 months for this video? I am so curious to see her notes. It's got to be such slop, dude.
As a publicity stunt, and how those publicity stunts have given him more and more viral attention. This is while he's whining about being canceled, because of course. And from that same stream, Destiny goes over how he himself will do the same, tailoring his approach and tactics to best spread when utilizing another's platform.
He's conducting himself like this is a platform of equals, instead of he is getting access to Piers' platform, and so he needs to market it like that. Like when I go on Piers' platform, I view it as though I'm on Piers' platform, I'm trying to angle out kind of a little bit his audience, fighting different battles here. But I think that's what Nick needs to do, because I don't think Nick is big enough to be like, well, I can't believe you do that. You're being mean to me, which is kind of what he's done for Pride. I can't believe you to attack my dad. Like, well, you brought him up first, bro. I mean, I don't think that you can just pull out the victim argument when you're coming onto his platform. I think you have to defend it a little better if you want.
But the most telling moment comes when...
Yeah, I've said this a million times. I vary my approach. People, policy, platform. Of course.
Critiquing Nick's debate performance.
But like, yeah, it's not a secret.
He muses to his audience why Nick doesn't just drop the Jew stuff.
The one thing I don't understand too, sometimes I think maybe I overthink this or overanalyze it. Because do you have to do the Jew shit? Like, I feel like Nick would have a much higher ceiling on what his popularity could be, or he would uncap it if you could just like drop the Jew shit. Like, do you really think can't you? Because you can do all the same xenophobic, racist stuff around immigration.
This isn't a statement on whether or not I think he's actually Semitic. This is a statement of like political efficacy. politicians will talk about or not talk about certain things based on the growth that they're looking for or the voters that they're trying to capture. Nick is trying to grow a political movement. I personally feel like the Jew shit hard ceilings a lot of it, at least for older people. I don't know, maybe millennial is where the cutoff is, where they don't care about the Jew shit anymore. And Nick seems like a strategic guy to me. So I just don't know why he wouldn't drop it or why he would. It just seems like same thing with the women hating. It seems like a very unnecessarily divisive thing that centers your whole political movement on a very politically unactivated audience, which is just young men. But I mean, this doesn't speak to any of his actual true beliefs. It's just like a statement of political strategy. It just seems ill-advised. That would be my take on it. I probably say all of this in this video. Or mass migration, or whatever. Like, you can do all these talking points without having to have the Jew shit. And I feel like the Jew shit can just turn off so many people. And you don't need the Jew shit. And like a lot of people that are turned on by the Jew shit aren't even going to be your natural allies anyway. Like Fuentes is never aligning himself heavily with like all the fucking Arabs or like the tanky lefty people. I don't know, but maybe he genuinely believes it. I guess maybe. Oh, they were like there, yeah. Maybe he genuinely is a super big believer on the Jew shit, and that's why he has to be a part. Maybe he does. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's hard to reach a certain level, but I might be over-indexing my own experiences. Like when it comes to racism or anything else, I feel like it's hard to get to a certain level and genuinely maintain these beliefs because you see so much behind the scenes. You meet some of these people. It's like, really, you really think that the fucking Jew control everything shit? Seriously, come on. I don't know about that, but maybe he does. He might. But even great to hear. Maybe he really does, and that's why it's such an important part of his movement, or it's still like a big enough part of his movement. It might be a thing that he actually heavily believes in. I feel like this person is so autistic, so can't interpret any of the thing that I'm saying that this is like the best hit piece that's ever been made against me because it's keeping enough of my original messages in here that I feel like I'm explaining my own thoughts pretty well. I don't know, but maybe he genuinely believes it, I guess. Maybe it might be a thing that he actually heavily believes in.
The anti-Semitic conspiracy that is a core of Nick Fuentes' worldview and has been for over a decade, and Destiny somehow sees it as interchangeable, like a weapon for an action figure. This is 2025. There's no room to say, well, maybe his opinions have changed, especially when it's clear that his approach to these people and associating with them has remained steadfast.
I don't think it has to be. I think you can have conspiratorial shit without the Jew stuff, right? The lefties, these motherfuckers do it with the billionaires. Well, and now with the Jew stuff too, because of Israel, right? You can just switch your enemy. That's the beauty of populism, the beauty of fascism, the beauty of extremist political ideologies is there's always a new big bad enemy around the corner that you can blame for all of your life's problems. For these people, it's billionaires and the bourgeoisie. For people like Fuentes, it's the elites or the Jews, right? You can always swap one enemy for the other. At the end of the day, nobody gives a fuck.
Be generous and say what Stephen is likely mistaking is that the people he argues against, like Nick, have no real standards for behaviors behind closed doors. This is particularly a well-noted phenomenon in conservative spaces where, despite being homophobic or racist or transphobic or whatever, people will constantly be accused of engaging in behaviors behind the scenes that show these beliefs to be little more than advertisement, public virtue signaling to their base.
Because for a lot of them, it is, yeah?
Which is what Stephen does himself. And I can't...
Well, evidence? Do we have proof of that? What?
I can't say for sure, because I don't know what's inside Stephen's brain, nor do I want to, but from everything he himself has said, it sure does seem like he regards these incredibly harmful ideas as just tools. Things to be swapped and shifted depending on what position they're arguing from and how it will help their popularity. In fact,
because for a lot of this person doesn't even engage with politics. I don't even know what the argument this person's trying to make is. Like for a lot of these people, they are right. For a lot of these larger figures, they literally do lie. I'm so curious what this person thinks. If this person thinks that the top level exec at like Fox News has the same intellectual wherewithal of the conspiracies that they push as just like an ordinary Fox News viewer, or is it all the same in their mind? Like people who are at the top of these political systems do, like, look at how many different fucking immigrant groups have these motherfuckers been on just over the past few years? We went through Haitians, Venezuelans, and the Trinidad Aragua shit. Mexicans are always a popular one to bring up. We're on Somalis now. Indians came up with the H-1B shit. Like how many different groups of brown people can we cycle through for these motherfuckers to hate? And for some of the shit, they even make it up. JD Vance is literally like, sometimes you're going to make some shit up to have a fucking group to fight with. What do you want me to say? Who are we going to fight today? Like, Jesus, you're telling me that this is a stable, consistent set of beliefs from the higher on ups? Like, come on.
When observing others and their convictions, he often seems bewildered when speculating at what someone genuinely believes, as if that's the only reason they could argue for it.
Because for a lot of these people, they don't have these genuine beliefs. This is so stupid. I don't even know how I'm responding to this. Ugh. Bro, just wait until after Trump is gone. I swear to fucking God. It's like I joke about the war in Iraq stuff. I have no idea how we ever went to invaded Iraq because apparently nobody supported it. Because if you talk to every single politician today, all of them are like, or every political figure, I didn't support it. I didn't like that. I thought it was a horrible idea. I didn't like that. It's like, what the fuck? Well, who the fuck supported it? Because we literally voted on it in Congress. And the same shit, by the way, will happen with Donald Trump. Mark my fucking words. Play it in the future. The same shit will happen with Donald Trump. There's going to be a whole collective wave of amnesia over these Republican demonic fucks of like, Trump was, that guy was real bad. I don't know what was going on there. I don't think they actually have amnesia. I think that they're adopting beliefs that are politically convenient for them. Yes. Fucking Charlie Kirk talks about fighting on 80-20 issues and how important it is.
Yeah, I would say I cut my teeth like debating conservatives. Like I was kind of like the only lefty guy who would be like a hardcore debater because I was like a conservative trope, and because I was the only person that did that for a long time, that was my reputation. I got a lot of left-leaning followers, and a lot of those people were like very far left, which I always thought was kind of a joke. I didn't think that was actually true. I started to realize that people in my community were like way further left than I had realized.
And I thought it was all memes and jokes and stuff, but now I'm not sure. Like Hasan goes like on these full-on rants on his stream about how like, oh, the U.S. is worse than the USSR and shit, and I'm like, whoa, hold on, homie. Like I don't know if I would like unironically say this, but then like you said, like all of a sudden I started to realize like, wait, I think it feels like there are more tankies here than I actually thought.
You can also hear how he regards.
Yeah, but Hasan had an intentional strategy of misrepresenting his political beliefs. And he later says this. He said that on the D program or whatever. I just didn't consider at the time, I guess, that somebody, I guess, could do that. I don't know. But I also just didn't have that much experience with, like, tanky people as well. It took me a while to pick up on that and learn that. And also keep in mind as well, it's kind of mindfucky because conservatives kept saying all these things about socialists for a long time. So to actually unironically see socialists pop up. But also keep in mind, though, as soon as I started to realize that, this is the thing I course corrected for. As soon as I started to realize, like, hold on, do I actually have socialists and shit in my community? I immediately start to course correct on this. And it ended up with a violent schism in my community where I sloughed off fucking a third or half of them over to fucking Vosh and Hasan over it.
His own stumbles and debates and post-argument wrap-up streams he will do, which listening to only cemented my view that it's all just some kind of game to him.
I've had a problem with what I consider to be, oh my God, militant as fuck progressives online. I hate them. I hate all these commies and socialist kids.
Also, damn, 2019, man. We're reaching back 6-7 years for some of this stuff. Okay.
The Chapo Trap Housers, the unironic like Marxists and stuff, they're just annoying to me. I don't necessarily hate their ideology. They just come at me with a whole bunch of bunk arguments. 95% of these
I do hate their ideology now. Oh my God, I was so naive. Oh my, am I talking to Hasan here? Oh my God. Like this, I was too naive on this, but I learned. I mean, what are you going to do?
Like Marxists and stuff, they're just annoying to me. I don't necessarily hate their ideology. They just come at me with a whole bunch of bunk arguments. 95% of these people don't even know like labor value theory. Like they have no idea what they're talking about, but they're so quick to throw out every single like contemporary understanding of economics to make some argument for some crazy socialist fantasy world where everything is free, nobody has to work, no other countries mess with us. All the it's been frustrating me.
I don't like doing this thing where I just like criticize the left from the left for clicks. I think that there's legitimate stuff to criticize.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking to David Packman. I think that's what
the left for. And one of those things is just like the narcissism of small differences, as it's called, where like we agree on 95% of stuff and we make.
Pretty sure David Packman has changed his opinion on this pretty significantly as well, especially after the Israel shit.
The focus, the 5% we disagree on to the point where we end up just like losing and it's completely counterproductive.
I'm curious to what extent you would consider yourself pro-Israel as opposed to simply being against the narrative of Palestinian oppression, wherein the Palestinian side can do no wrong. I don't know, probably like 65 or 70% pro-Israel. It just depends on where you're at. If I start talking to any, like that Simcha Rockman guy or whatever, if I start talking to any crazy pro-Zionist, I'm probably going to come up as super anti-Israel. It depends on, there's multiple ways to engage with the conversation. We can either engage on the factual level, where we're going to debate the facts, or I can engage on a philosophical level. So for instance, I can try to point out a contradiction in your argument if I don't have the facts. Now that's a much scarier level to engage on because the other person is familiar or can maneuver the conversation while you're going to label them the fuck out. Or I can try to like focus on another point that's more philosophically related. Why do you let JP strong argue? It's not, it's trying to figure out like, what do I want to argue? Like, do I really want to argue if things like famine or if like, do I want to argue if these things count as like leftist? It's just, I just don't want to have this. We've already wasted an hour and we haven't talked about much. Why?
Like, yeah, when I go on and do debates with people, there's a strategy to debating. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in the things that I believe in, but there's an optimal way to convey your points. There's an optimal way to navigate arguments. What is this supposed to prove?
Why would I want to? It's just picking the things I want to fight with. And I'm kind of thinking here, like, do I want to fight at this point? And I don't. It's okay.
I mean, like, this is true even like interpersonally. How many times do you hear, you know, advice for boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wives, like don't like choose your battles, right? Or even like parent to kid or teacher to student, right? Like these aren't even unique to debating. Like if somebody says like, oh, choose your battles when it comes to your relationship, like you don't want to fight over everything. It's like, oh, so what? You're not being genuine in your love for your partner because you're not willing to fight over every single minor autistic quibble you might have. Like,
whatever.
The only conclusion I can draw from observations like maybe...
I know you don't like to do it, but you should really give personal examples on how you actually believe in the things you say, and that's why you are being uber persecuted by the right and the administration. I mean, yeah, I guess it's cringe. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, like, bro, so much personal shit of mine has fucking leaked, okay? You will never find any private message of me having some contradictory political belief. Like I said, I'm not going to read it because I would kill myself before reading the fucking cringe. But like, when I met up with Lauren in New York City, bro, I was incensed over the Trump shit, over the J6 stuff, and we had a huge fight in person. But it's not like I meet people. I adopt a totally different set of political beliefs, and that was like a private interaction. That was just that wasn't streamed. That wasn't for content. There was nothing to be gained from doing that. I mean, I think I've given more people a leg up on small platforms than any other streamer my size. I think I've randomly defended people that for no gain of my own. I wasn't even streaming it. I'm pretty sure I was in Amsterdam. I might have been on methamphetamine, or maybe it was the day before when I hopped into that one stream to defend Prime Kai when he was getting his shit fucked up by just dumb shit going on. I defended Chud Logic when he was getting his shit fucked up by the little girl that he wanted to talk to online. That's not exactly that. I just hate these people now. But no, like, I mean, I generally, if I think I give people props when they need it, I usually defend people against bullshit allegations when they happen. I think I'm very generous with my time and platform with any other small creator, more so than any other creator my size on the internet. Garen fucking Teed. Yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say? I'm basically a saint, okay? What do you want me to say? I've never done anything wrong ever.
Nick Fuentes isn't actually racist towards Jews and isn't being edgy is that Destiny can only see opinions not from a place of empathy or understanding, but from his position, where it seems like convictions and beliefs are malleable, open to change or manipulation to suit needs. And that's the alternative to the explanation just being that Destiny is too stupid to know the difference, which I genuinely think isn't the case. In treating these people as
like, what is the... Oh, so the alternative is that I know that they genuinely have these evil opinions, but I try to present them nicer to my audience so I can do content with them? Is that the...
Years, and they're...
Like, you have to torture the facts, and you have to twist your mind into such crazy fucking shapes. Like, why can't... Like, if you just take me at my word, all the explanations for this stuff are so much simpler. Like, it's so... Like, everything I say and do kind of tracks with what I say publicly. Because I wouldn't even be able to maintain lies on any of this shit, given how many private conversations of mine which leak, which apparently asymptotically approaches 100%, and then given how many different people I talk to, how much I stream, how many different debates I have, like, how would I be able to keep track of all the disingenuous entity? That's not a real word, but I don't care.
Their ideology is difference in opinions, his platforming of these voices and spreading of their ideas, even trying to genuinely interact with disingenuous actors, paints these liars and opportunists in a more reasonable, favorable light, in turn bringing in more people who might see them as just chill guys who have a difference of opinion and serving to normalize politically radical and harmful ideas. Destiny might just see these interactions as pushing back with the factoids he studies up with, but in failing to recognize the genuine ideological mission of bad faith actors.
But didn't I literally say earlier, didn't you literally play a clip where I say the whole goal of Nick Fuentes is to be a bad faith actor? Why are you just reciting what I said 5 years ago worse? Like, I lay all this out exactly in an earlier clip you played, and you're pretending like you just discovered it.
Back with the factoids he studies up with, but in failing to recognize the genuine ideological mission of bad faith actors, or simply mistaking their beliefs for being a business model, he's enabled this shit to spread for his entire career. Like I said earlier, people have been asking, why is Nick Fuentes everywhere now? I thought he was a Nazi, and he is. But the reason that he's everywhere is because people see more of him just chilling out and being a reasonable, rational guy than they do the actual evil shit he believes. And in a very real way, spending years collaborating with someone like Destiny allowed Nick to test the waters with what rhetoric would get.
True. I made every single figure except for Hasan. He's the only one whose career I didn't make. But every other career, I made.
Pushback, and what would get him more attention, and thus a bigger platform. And after platforming so many people, it shouldn't be surprising that Destiny has been a controversial figure for a while. Had no shortage of critics from all sides. And I want to talk about how he reacts to being criticized on all fronts, because I don't think he would have it any other way.
Scary, like how close I was to getting people together to go down to his house to kill him and his family.
Oh, not the DDoS guy. This is about me being criticized. This is about a guy shutting my internet off for months.
Dude, that was some of the most fucked up shit in my entire life. I was so fucking...
Yes, I wanted to go kill people for criticizing me on the internet. Based. Okay, I'm giving this 3 more minutes. Okay, we'll go to 1 hour and 30. I already watched this way longer than I thought I would.
The argumentative strategies he employs to understand how Destiny works, you have to break down everything he says and piece it back together to see how it functions for him.
Oh, but you can't just definitely don't listen to anything I say. Don't take me at my word for anything. We have to pathologize. We gotta do the crazy psychological analysis to make sense of anything.
The argument works and how it benefits him. First and foremost, Destiny tries to sidestep any allegations that he has a responsibility to his base by usually just saying his job is as an entertainer.
I'm cutting a fat check from the government. How did you guess, dude? How did you know that?
Because you're not even interested in whether 9/11's fake or not.
Because wait, this exact same conversation that she's clipping from is literally me saying that I'm not going to debate a crazy conspiracy off the top of the dome because I'm not going to be able to responsibly platform it and debate it without doing some research first. What?
I don't have time to research every...
I'm literally saying it. The clip she's posting. Sorry, hold on. Sorry.
to sidestep any allegations that he has a responsibility to his base by usually just saying his job is as an entertainer.
I'm cutting a fat check from the government. How did you guess, dude? How did you know that?
Because you're not even interested in whether 9/11 is fake or not.
Because I don't have time to research every. I'm not interested in the frogs
That's
turning
your
gay or
job.
not.
That's your
That's
job.
not my job. My job is to entertain people on YouTube.
See, Destiny will say that he is a well-balanced, emotionally stable person.
This is like the most insane, like 4-word cut from a whole conversation where I'm talking about responsible platforming, where I literally, if I don't know the chronology exactly on this, but if we're arguing about doing a JFK debate here, it's because I did do the week worth of research on the fucking 9/11 video and would have crushed him on, and he dodged me because of that. Like, that's such an insane, like, 4-word clip to try to pretend that, like, oh, he just thinks he just does entertainment. This is like the biggest criticism I have of so many people online. This is like the #1 criticism I wheel out of people like fucking Joe Rogan and everybody else.
Which I think he genuinely believes about himself.
He is frogs turning gay or not.
That's your
That's
job.
not my job. My job is to entertain people on YouTube.
See, Destiny will say that he is a well-balanced, emotionally stable person, which I think he genuinely believes about himself.
And the types of people you go after, the type of person you are, you know, would hopefully weigh that. I would hope that when it comes to a relationship, you're not like flipping coins in terms of like, fuck, if I do this, I might be fucked. So like, yeah, I mean, like all things in life, you have to weigh the risks. Of course, I know the type of person I am. I know who I sell myself as, and I know how people perceive me. Like, if I have moments of vulnerability with a woman, I've never had in my life where they thought I'm a weak person, because that's not who I am. And I live my values and everything in every single facet of my life. I'm an emotionally stable person. I have my shit together better than most other people I've ever met. If I show one moment of vulnerability to my partner and she leaves me, fuck that bitch, I'll find somebody else.
And one of the more fascinating and
I'm so sorry, but if I understand for some people, they engage with Twitter or they engage with shit and it's like making them ultra fucking ass pained and everything else, you know, offline or whatever. Compared to most people, I'm fucking Fort Knox. This mine is Fort Knox, okay? Do I get upset or mad when I'm streaming and screaming at political stuff and everything? Yeah, sure. But for the most part, I'm not on fucking SSRIs. I'm not trying to kill myself all the time. I'm not having massive breakdowns off stream because of my political content. Like, I don't know what we're considering emotional stability. Is it just when we talk very quiet, like we're zanzed out all the time? Is that what emotional stability is? I mean, whatever you want it to be.
Telling insights into Steven's personality comes when he talks about adversity and overcoming the odds. As someone who went through a period of being poor and built himself up into a successful business, I understand the sentiment, and that's something to be proud of, ostensibly. But what I think is interesting is the way in which he emphasizes the way adversity forces him, as he puts it, to work harder. I wrote all this stuff, by the way.
I don't know if I've ever brought up my upbringing without, first of all, the first, 12 to 13 years of my life, I grew up insanely upper middle class. Secondly, all of the building and everything else I did when I was fucked and poor probably came from a lot of the background that I had when I was upper middle class. Like the whole fact that I was able to get involved in streaming meant that I needed a prerequisite background in computers and video games. I needed access to computers and video games growing up, and I needed the ability to play computers and video games. Like, I've said this a million times. I don't think I've ever done this rags to riches story bullshit that the fucking equestrian, fat fucking loser, Turkish genocide supporting kitty fucker Hasan Piker does constantly. Where this guy grows up as part of a 9-figure net worth family trying to pretend like he had the everyman background. Give me a fucking break. Oh my God. When am I... Never mind. It's all good.
He emphasizes the way adversity forces him, as he puts it, to work harder. I wrote all this stuff, by the way, before I found this next clip where he literally just outlines how he feels empowered by being beset on all sides, by having the world against him.
You hang out with crazy people all the time.
Yeah,
She's
they're
nodding.
entertaining
She
and
knows.
funny.
But it can fuck you.
No, it hasn't.
What do you mean it hasn't?
I've come out of all these situations stronger, faster, better.
And I will. There were doubters a year ago. I'm not leaving. I'm just kidding. Stop.
Yes, you come out.
The next one will be even younger. I'm just kidding. Stop.
Would you rather just
Stop. Joke. Edit that out. Stop.
I don't believe that.
Oh, that was it. Okay. Stop.
Responsibility as a content creator, what I have to do is, not only do I have to understand what's good content, I have to figure out what you want, and you don't know what you want, okay? You don't know what you want. People like this will say, like, oh yeah, that's not healthy. They only know me because
I know what I want.
They only know me because they watch those arcs. They're like, this is really bad for you. By the way, I watched every single Mr. Girl video. Or, this is the worst stuff ever, and I want to talk to you about the 482 hours of Anna content that I've seen on your stream. And I can't believe you hang out with these girls. Let me give you my opinion on the 482 different tweets that Lab has made about you, right?
Is that good for you?
Yeah, it's good content. It's entertaining as fuck.
Is that all there is, content?
It's like, you ever see the anime Death Note?
And that ties directly into something we're going to see a lot more of, how Destiny acknowledges controversy helps him. I mean...
What? Why do we act like... I'm such an open person. I feel like this is such a stupid thing. It's like, little do you know that Destiny thinks that controversy actually helps his career. Watch this clip. Guys, I think that controversy is actually a huge way to drive views to my channel. And there we go. He reveals the plan. Like...
Just look at some of the early debates and how they're framed on his channel. Just look at his willingness to circle himself with weirdos and no backup to argue against them. He has become dead set on the brand recognition of being the only person like him. Except
I like arguing with people. I can't help that. I like arguing with people. What do you want me to say? Okay? What do you want me to say? I do like debating people. What?
there are plenty of other people like him. He just goes out of his way to distance them from himself to maintain this image.
Well, no, because most of the other debater type people were right wingers. That was true. But I mean, what do you want me to say? It was a true thing. It was a true fact. You might not remember that because you were never involved in those spaces, but that's just how it was.
Several years, he was even friends, according to himself, with people on the left like Hasan, who he takes credit for helping to launch the Twitch star's meteoric career as a politics streamer. Other people.
Hold on, I'm just going to listen to the end of this little section here. I'm so curious if they dive into that at all, because I solo built Nick Fuentes' career. Do I get any credit for Hasan or Vosh here? Hold on.
People he's associated with the past include Vosh and a number of streamers and creators that have each in time been left by the wayside, usually because when Steven's more incendiary or reactionary takes would rear their heads, he would double down under criticism.
What is that framing? So for Fuentes, that I had 17 fucking engagements with over 9 years or whatever, and all of them adversarial. But Hasan, who has, I don't think that's true. Somebody said 100,000 messages in DGG. There's no way there's that many. Shut the fuck up. But like, who used to post on my subreddit? Like what?
Seemingly entirely out of spite. For example,
entirely out of spite. Whoa!
the bizarre rant about how people should be able to mow down protesters for blocking traffic.
The rioting. Was this after I'd already cut off my relationship with Hasan? The bizarre rant? Why not just watch the video? It's not bizarre at all. And the point was correct. I say protesters that set buildings on fire. I should have said rioters, I guess. Although I don't think it matters much. I think you know what the fuck I'm talking about. But the whole point was that nothing loses a movement support faster than rioting. It's true. It's true on MLK's day. It's true for BLM's day. Rioting and blowing shit up loses support. And it needs to fucking stop. Okay? And it did need to stop. And it did stop.
Entirely out of spite. For example, the bizarre rant about how people should be able to mow down protesters for blocking traffic.
I'm sorry, I didn't even hear that. For blocking traffic?
Rioting needs to fucking stop. And if that means like white redneck fucking militia dudes out there mowing down dipshit protesters that think that they can torch buildings at 10 p.m., then at this
torch buildings? Is that another word for block traffic?
point, they have my fucking blessing, because holy shit, this fucking shit needs to stop. It needed to stop a long time ago.
When he tried to couch this in a box of working class concern over private property.
I believe that people should have a right to defend their property. I mean, you can make those comparisons if you want, but I think that I have much better ground to stand on than Vivian, who's essentially giving you carte blanche to murder every fucking conservative in the United States.
Dude, and can I get but to be clear,
Vivian was just early. Just kidding. I don't support that. Vance, don't come after me. I'm sorry. I love you, Vance.
Destiny, when you made that comment about the rioters, you said they had your blessing to go out and do that. So,
the rioters?
So
I said that people. Yeah. I said that people whose private property is being destroyed in a video game would have my support in whatever. Yeah, wait, hold on. That is exactly what I said.
You said white redneck militia dudes going down dipshit protesters. You said they'd have your blessing.
I'm not here to answer for
people that are setting shit on fire. It's literally in the 30-second clip. Also, by the way, the person who made that clip and popularized that clip to get my shit deplatformed and everything was Vosh's fucking girlfriend at the time, by the way. So to claim that I'm just being spite-based, well, actually, I guess if I were to hate him for that, that would actually just be spite-based. It would be spite. That would be reasonable spite, though. But I didn't even break up with Vosh over that clip. Vosh was the one who broke up with me because I think he got so obliviated over the trying to say that Scalia and George Bush were fascists. And then Vosh didn't talk to me anymore after that. I'm not even the one that ended that relationship. Vosh was. Oh, and Hasan ended his relationship with me after he got blown the fuck out over the classic, legendary N-word debate. That wasn't even the N-word debate. The,
You gnome fuck!
That one.
What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude.
They're the ones that ended their relationship, not me. I'm still okay debating these people.
15-second clip. If you want to go back and watch the video, it is painfully obvious what I'm talking about.
I'm only speculating, so grain of salt, but to me it seems like Destiny thought of himself in the position of possibly losing money, something being a threat to his business, and that is where his reaction was based in. Perceived threats to livelihood are serious, and Destiny has a history of taking them violently serious, like the somewhat well-known early example of doxing a troll who continued to DDoS Steven's streams, and at one point Steven even said this.
Ripped his IP from Skype and gave it to a...
Yeah. I think this is one of the few good old boy Midwestern beliefs that I've retained, and I retained it to this fucking day. I think you should be able to defend your property with whatever force the state would legally allow you to defend your property with in the United States of America. 100%. I've never changed my stance on this.
Friend who...
Okay, I listened to 2 minutes longer. if you want to go listen to the rest of this, yeah, knock yourself out. I will say, I appreciate the stupidity of this YouTuber because I feel like they left in a lot of good clips for me. So